Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of what we're calling the Guardian Show. We haven't come up with a better name yet, so that's kind of as we're going. Good evening to those who are watching. I am just flicking with.
Hello.
So we are four hobbyists. I don't know where I was going with that. So we are four blokes, and this is kind of the rambling nonsense that you get from us. I'm Dewi, and I run the Guardians channel. We've got Ali King, who is the lead coordinator and an alright player. Gethin, who is coming back to the game and absolutely loves Helmingas, and CJ, the man of Moria.
I'm just here for the food.
Food? What?
Wait, there's food.
I want to talk about this.
Yeah, Dewi sends us all free takeaway. Just
Oh, Ali going speed talking all of a sudden.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
So we have got a kind of general rambling of how we're going to do things. We'll go around the room in a minute and explain what we've done in the last 2 weeks, hobbying or not. I've actually done something that's not 3D printing.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! And then we're going to go and do our time top 5. We'll do one at the start, and then we'll run through some tournament bits and pieces. So we've got the Guardians Call to Helm's Deep to review, which is my event that Ali attended, and we've got Lord of the Imps: The Two Powers, and then we're going to run through one of the lists from those events because we think it's a bit interesting and different, and yeah, a little bit weird, but it works. So, gents, what have we done in the last 2 weeks?
Well, to be honest, I'm going to be moving house fairly shortly. So the main thing I've done hobby-wise is bought this cool little organizer over here, which I can. I've got this weird. I've got boxes of just like spare heads and arms and things. It's just like they're mentally out of my head because of that. So I got a see-through plexiglass with little drawers out. Now I've just got a drawer full of heads and arms and so on and so forth. So that's
is
great.
that like a garage organizer, kind of a screw organizer thing? Oh,
I was trying to turn the camera to show you.
Basically, unless if it's one of our paid sponsors, you're not allowed to show it.
yeah,
it's not KR. That's little glass. Yeah, so now I've got a tray full of
nice.
heads in there.
Nice.
Is it just me, or does it get to a point with hobbying where you no longer actually do hobby, you just spend more time organising your hobby?
You have no idea how long that takes to solve.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did that years ago.
There's something more satisfying about it, though.
Yeah.
Years ago, I think I did. I had tons of sprues from Fantasy and 40k, and we just went through cutting all the spare bits off and putting them into boxes. And now I've still got like 2 large cardboard boxes just filled with sprues still.
Jeez.
And it's the fact that none of that's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So that
systems I don't play.
That stuff on that shelf there are all like tiny Tupperware boxes, or varying sizes of Tupperware boxes, and they've all got like labels on and factions. So I don't have anything on sprue because I just clip it off, put it in little Ziploc bags. So for like, let's say, Warriors Minas Tirith with spear, the ones that come with the spear arm unattached, clip them off the sprue and put the model with the arm with the spear in a Ziploc bag, put it in the Tupperware box. So if I need to build a model or paint a model, I can just go, right, yoink, there is a man with all the bits that he needs, and go from there. So
we love a man with all the bits.
Man with all the bits.
I also found when I was quite young, actually, there was a local Argosy kind of store, Sports Direct, something like that. They were going out of business, so they were selling sort of tower units so I got this weird thing which housed cotton reels or sewing.
Cool.
So just a tower full of these, and then as you can see, they're just about an inch wide. So that was my primitive storage stuff when I was a teenager.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've just got giant tubs full of bits and like some of the tools things that we were on about earlier with the little like orange compartments with bits of
Oh
offcut sprue,
yeah.
Mhm.
and obviously all my really useful boxes available at Amazon and other established retailers.
Ryman is the best place to go. I found that's where I found the
Yeah,
cheapest.
they
I,
do.
I
good
think I
deals.
got some of them from Ryman through Amazon.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah, then.
Yeah.
They deliver to you if you're a Prime member, free of charge. Here.
Yeah. No, the other storage thing that I've got is Hobby Zone desk modules.
Mm.
Ali, did you use a carrier bag when you were little?
That's what your brothers just said.
Your brothers just
No,
said
I used a cardboard box,
within a
which I
car.
put in a carrier bag.
He called it. He called it. He said, "Won't admit it." Oh, excellent.
Well, with cardboard boxes, you can see behind me there's one. So there was a thing I got from work. They were giving out these samples of like simply innocent coconut water. So I was just left with all these cardboard. So I can now stack those. Sort of up there. Like, geez, the crackling from Ali.
Yeah, he's. Oh,
that no.
I've just seen what's in
Jesus.
here.
Take it away from your microphone. That is horrendous.
There's like a pin vise and some paints.
Why'd you put a pin vise in there? That's just gonna make holes.
There's a Skaven warp flock. What is it called?
Engineer?
Not warp flock engineer. No, it's not the engineer. It's poison
Thrower.
rifle over there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, to be fair, like my Warhammer fancy stuff has got a lot less treatment.
I was gonna say, put the carrier bags down. Put
Yeah.
the carrier
That's
bags.
just a bag of bases.
But a giant Ziploc bag filled with pieces.
But these have gone in a box, so
Mhm.
I count them as being in a box.
on the topic of sorting models, also counting models, I found is really satisfying. Like counting my whole collection, it does
I've got
take
too
like
many.
it does take like a week,
Yeah.
but
I did
I was
that
gonna
with
say, I've
my
got too much.
dwarfs about 2-3 years ago.
didn't you say you've got like 500 dwarf models or something stupid?
Khazad-dûm ones. And I've probably got more now if you just
Why?
like include the second army of Thor and the Iron Hills and all that I've got as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I kind of one, I have a problem, and two, it's because
At least you admit
back
it.
for War of the Ring, so it was just
Okay, fair.
Oh yeah.
But
So did you have like 80 Vault Wardens in a row?
no, but I do want that.
Okay.
So, shall I tell you the most annoying thing about Vault Wardens? I can't remember if I mentioned it last time, but it's the fact that you've only got the one in that position now. They don't do the one holding the spear down below.
So there's only one
Oh,
position.
no.
Do they not?
Yeah, like they only transferred one to Fighting Cast, and it's really annoying because I've
I've done that with a couple of things.
yeah,
I think Owl Riders, you can only get one of them now,
yeah.
I believe. There's something else.
They sell them in a box of two now.
Yeah, it's
but
2
they
foot,
used to
2
be
foot
more.
and mounted, and there is a
Okay.
third
Yeah.
pose because
Yeah.
I've got all three. Yeah, so I bought them when they were still. You bought them individually,
hmm
and I've got all 3 poses mounted and 1 pose on foot, and I've got 3 of them.
Ooh.
It's like, okay, and it's the crappy one when he's reaching for his thing. I just smack my elbow on my
Oh, yeah.
light arm. But right, moving
I
on.
think which one's
As I
after.
say, we haven't gotten past what the
CJ
CJ stuff.
Yeah.
Catherine, what have you been up to the last 2 weeks?
Well, I finished that random monk model that I was painting.
Oh, nice.
I don't even know if it is a monk.
You're painting a monk.
This weird thing. I don't know what it's from.
Oh, I remember now.
But some like demon.
Oh,
It's
is
gonna focus.
that the one that's slightly bigger scale?
I've got no idea.
No, it's just Geffen's like.
Small hand. Small hand.
And then I've started on Dwarves and Barrels.
Oh, nice. I've
Ooh.
literally just ordered that from Big. So
think
Is everyone
yeah.
panic buying because they're about to go out of stock?
I just thought it's a set that I've always
I
wanted.
didn't see any of the stuff here. I think I bought those off Joe Groker like a year or 2 ago or something like that. And I was just like finally got around
Yeah.
because still going through. I think so. I've got that. I've also sprayed some Kings of Men, Dwarf Kings, and Mole Stalkers, and then that's all of my Lord of the Rings stuff done.
Oh
Did anyone-
wow.
So
Right, did anyone see Colm Brown's objective markers that he did using some of the barrels out of Bond
Yes.
Talks?
Yes.
They were
No?
quite cool. So he basically made it so they were actually in full barrels with like objective markers on a couple of them. It looked quite funny.
That's
It
pretty
was,
cool.
it was Dwalin climbing out the toilet. That was my favourite.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you did 3 toilet ones, bomber in barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So do you buy a couple of Lake Town houses, I guess? 'Cause that's got barrels and toilets.
Yeah, I've no idea how he's done them, but they were very, very good. So yeah,
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Alistar, what have you been up to, my friend?
Well, as usual, I've done a lot. So
Have you got more sponsors?
no, it's like a monthly contractual thing. So
So for next episode.
yeah, no. So I went to some random event in the middle of, I say in the middle, vaguely near the outside of Bristol, run by some hairy muppets. And then, apart from that, I suppose my only hobby really has been randomly asking you your opinion of a list. And I've booked a whole bunch of hotels for GBHL events that I may go to for the rest of the year.
Nice. Productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I was booking something else last night, and I was like, you know what? While I'm here, I'm just gonna do everything. So it's like,
Have you got
Just cancel them.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
have you got cancellation?
yeah, they're all like I can
Okay,
cancel up
good.
to like a week before.
Okay.
But I was just like, that way I don't do what I normally do and just completely forget, and it's like 3 days before the event, and it's like,
Were you the one that had the story about you had a habit of booking hotel rooms as doubles and then not using?
Yeah,
So somebody
that's
else was-
Alistair.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's Alistair.
So the person you'd be sharing with just got used to bringing someone else to share the room with because you just assumed you wouldn't be coming.
The best one, ironically, is really a while ago. So I was sharing a room with Jamie Giblin at the 281 in Mansfield.
Mhm.
And we got it kind of last minute. And then it turns out we got the suite room. So it was like we walked in, there was a little foyer, you had the bathroom door there, you had the main double bedroom, and then you had another bedroom with like 2 single beds. And we're like, oh, minted. I didn't make it back. I got drunk and stayed at Jay Clare's place.
Surprise.
But it turns out Jamie just assumed I wasn't making it back, and he'd like basically rented out the other 2 beds to another 2 people. And so if I had have turned up, I would have just stumbled in drunk to find 2 random like guys like in my bed.
Oh,
Yeah.
funny. No, you've crashed on a floor of mine. Was it ETC, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the Airbnb with the guy who was just a moron. Not the person I was staying with, because that's Luke. The guy who I rented
Wow.
the Airbnb from was just god, yeah, absolute nightmare. Absolute
But-
nightmare.
I have managed to stay in the correct place that I was meant to for the last few tournaments, so
Well
clearly
done.
I'm vaguely growing up.
Well done.
I've actually booked the 281 suite room again, so for Owen and Ed's tournament in Mansfield. So
When's that?
who knows? 24th of October, like last
Okay.
weekend of October, I think, or the second last.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
Nice.
genuinely, I'm doing this because I want to cook breakfast in the morning. I'm just like I was away at the weekend in the Peaks, and I was just like, we had a really nice B&B, and I just enjoyed being able to go downstairs and have breakfast. I was just like, this is amazing.
Always love that with the events.
After the debacle of McDonald's at your event, I just
Oh god, yeah, that was chaos. We'll get on to that.
yeah.
So
That's one of the things I liked about Element Games. Just always Premier Inn. Because it's right across the road. Or those places
Oh,
like
yeah.
Premier Inn's a bit
Just down the
expensive
road.
though.
It
It was
is,
always
yeah.
we went to is it the Britannia or the one which is
Oh, I
about
know.
a mile further?
I went to the Britannia once in the middle of the summer and got a room with like the window didn't open.
Yeah, you got one of the like Premier rooms then.
It was horrible. So I never went there again. But there's a place. So if you come out of Element, look towards Premier and turn right, there's a place just down the road that is meant for like weddings and big parties and stuff like that. But obviously, there's always going to be spare rooms. So like the rooms are really cheap.
Oh, nice.
I think like Josh Devoy managed to find it. It was like
Why do I
60%
just
of
imagine
the Premier
Josh
Inn?
just like going and like joining in with every single wedding that's going on?
Josh just goes down for the dances and the drinks.
Oh dear. Yeah, so last 2 weeks I've run an event. So I ran an event that was interesting and good, and the week leading up to that was furiously printing trophies, literally just all the time.
How's a 3D printer?
You say you were. You
It's
mean
good. Oh.
your printer was doing it while you were off doing other stuff for the 16 hours?
Technically, while I was asleep. No, my printer is good. I had some trouble with it last week and the week before. Essentially, I put a magnetic plate on the build. Magnet, obviously.
Yes, those things.
Those magnetic magnets.
On the build plate with a flex plate across it, so I don't have to take the build plate on and off. And that makes so there's a bit of metal that attaches to the build arm when it goes down, and a bit of metal comes straight down from it as well, and that's what interacts with the light sensor to kind of tell the build plate when it's reached the bottom. And I've been using this flex plate for months, and it's gradually got worse. So the build plate was like, it was making sounds as if it was trying to push through the screen. Turns out I just needed a little spacer, because obviously the magnetic plate and the flex plate is like 2.5 mil, so I just needed that spacer to make the light, so the piece of metal could hit the light switch, and yeah, so much better now. So I spent a good 5 hours over the weekend trying to figure out what was wrong, and Google searching and on forums and everything. Turns out I needed like a tiny bit of like a tiny spacer that you can print to get in the middle of it, and it was like, well, this is annoying.
Closest to a day's work you've done in a year.
Hey, it was my weekend.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then while I was at my event, I chopped up some Knights of the Mayor's Tirith, and I chopped up some Citadel Guard, and I'm in the process of converting 6 Citadel Guard on horse. So they are currently in a position where they are attached to the horses. The bodies are attached. I've resculpted the armor that was missing, because some of the hands go like onto the onto the thigh armor. Sorry, I was reading Matt's question. I can't remember where it was from. Wham Bam do a flex plate as well, but there's another one another website that's UK based, I think, but mine came from China. It took like a week. And then I've sculpted the armor that was missing off one of the thighs, and I put some trim on the bottom of the tunic bits, and I've started doing their cloaks. And then the other thing, I had a commission Grima on horse to do, which I converted out of the new plastic Saruman and Grima. So that was good fun to do.
So you use bottom half of Saruman and put top half of Grima on, basically.
Kind of, yeah. But Grima's got like the quite iconic cloak that hangs from his sleeves. That's really droopy on each side. I kept that in, so I had to cut kind of like a U shape out of Grima, and then kind of cut bits off of Saruman and keep shaving and try and get him in a position, and then just blend gaps and everything. So yeah, it took a little bit of fiddling out which bits needed to be cut and how he was going to be placed. But yeah, apart from that, it was just like cloak work. So but yeah,
that was weirdly like actual hobby talk.
Yeah, I know. How strange. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. But I think everyone is here for our Times Top 5, and I am trying to find some paper to write on. Here we are. From last time. So, the idea with this is we have topics. If I change to our little wheel that the guys can't see, but I can. So we have a wheel of categories, and this wheel is spun randomly, and we will have 5 minutes to make our top 5 list. So some of the categories you can see, the ones grayed out are the ones we've already done. So we've got halfling heroes, good monster heroes, point sufficient steeds, profiles that benefit from good rule the most, all that kind of stuff. So if you have
listing ones we've done, I was like,
no, we haven't done that. That hero's not to give a horse. That's a shout out to Ali. So if anyone has any more ideas for topics, let us know in the comments, and we will go with that. So, right, team. Oh, let's scroll down a little bit more. We are going to spin the wheel.
Let's not do that, Matt. Let's do 750 point lists. 450.
No.
Top
Ooh.
5.
To be
4.
fair, I've got 5 450 point lists to go that I want to know what people think is the best of anyway.
So we have our topic is named wraiths.
Named wraiths.
Are we
Named
doing
wraiths.
Nazgul or of Dol Guldur?
What do we think, team?
I'd
Nazgul
say
of
they're
Dol Guldur
different.
or-
Mix them all together, otherwise we're going to get very similar lists.
Yeah. Right. Cool.
So,
We have 5 minutes. So named wraiths. Oh, let's try and think of them.
I mean, there's some that you can just instantly cross out.
Yeah. Knight of Umbar, gone. Undying, gone. Dwimmerlake, gone. Oh, look, there's only
You're
5 left.
You're just reading my whole list out.
Or Dummer League.
Oh, he got so shafted.
I always used to like the Dummer
Oh,
League.
he
It's
was
kinda
so
cool.
good.
Yeah.
One of the
I
filthiest
absolutely-
models.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure me playing Jay and being like with that list was partly
what they're-
responsible like for the Dwimmer Lake's whole entire. I remember it was at one of Will's events and basically had 2 ring wraiths on Felbeast. And then I had the Dwimmer Lake who just went, no, to everything to do.
Yeah.
He
it
even
was
started
so
failing
good.
courage tests to charge like my half trolls.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
it's like, and it's just like, oh yeah, Johnny used another 2 will on that.
I rang Shaden Dwimmerlake at Ardacon a couple of times. That was good.
If you're claiming that, I'm going to claim that Jay was terrified of my Helmingas. That's why they had to nerf Grimboard.
No.
Did they nerf him?
Yeah, because he has to go 2-handed now. He didn't used to.
Oh yeah.
He is now fight 5, I guess, but still, he gets most.
Was he fight 4 previously?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Oh,
That's
really?
what I mean. It's like, has he been nerfed?
He still gets minus 1 to win the fight.
Yeah, but if he goes up to fight 5, I'd almost say that it's better.
Poor old Kamul, the Dol Guldur version. As soon as he
got
Yeah.
2-handed, just
Yeah.
bottom of the list immediately.
But he's got 3 attacks though, so that kind of helps.
Still,
Just to
you
check, we
can't
did
risk the
say
minus 1.
named race, didn't we?
Yeah.
So not unnamed.
Yeah, because actually
yeah,
the,
that's-
the utility of the normal
named
wraith
one
is
is
so
really
good,
good,
yeah. What was Ed called them? The Tesco wraiths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stuck.
But-
You have 3 minutes left.
Oh, I'm done. Hurry up, guys.
Got 3 of them. I'm just trying to think.
I was going to say I'm flicking through because I'm bound to miss
Yeah.
one.
I've decided to take the tactic of just do like the first 5 that come to my head.
Then argue your corner no matter what.
Yeah, that's pretty much how like my lists work at tournament anyway. It's like, that's a stupid idea. Let's do that.
I've got 4 down, and then yeah.
The issue is I don't think I've ran a Wraith in this edition. So
Have you
mine's
run
just,
anything in this edition?
Helmingas, Isengard. That's about it, yeah.
So I've,
Helmingas, Berserker spam, and 1 game of Wars of Isengard.
I've got my list. Trying to think.
I just call it a budget wraith rather than a Tesco wraith.
Yeah, it's a budget wraith.
Or baby wraith.
I think most
Baby
people
wraith
say
is the other
budget.
term.
I don't think I've ever heard Baby Wraith.
Baby Wraith is the one I've heard. Well, if they're like a 171 or a 271, then they're
Or
obviously.
2-0-1.
That's the thing for you. Do you give your Tesco Wraiths two fate, or do you give them 1 fate?
Generally, we
none.
prefer 2, but I know a lot of people are like, if you've got to a position where he's getting wounded, you've done something wrong. So
Yeah.
most people, they're like, no, 1 or none.
I think I would say in a standard list, because I know partly why you asked the question, I'll do 1, because realistically, it's only if you face a legless or get a lucky shot off on him.
Yeah,
At which point, that and with his might, you should be fine.
yeah. You have a minute left. I'm pretty sure I've got my list.
I think it's
Yeah, I think I do.
There's one in my list that I really want to run, but I haven't got round to painting him for a start.
Quick question: am I allowed to do the Witch King twice, as in both of his profiles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Finished. It's a question of whether I take that or the tainted.
I wonder what like
Yeah.
2/5 of your list is going to be.
Come on.
Right.
Kamal, that's who it's going to be. 2/5 of Kamal.
I think
Yeah. It's just trying to rank these now, which is
Yeah.
Oh, I've got that sorted as well. It was the order I wrote them down then.
Maybe there are levels to this. You got the Lidl Wraith, the Tesco Wraith, the Waitrose Wraith.
So we got
Oh no,
3,
he's got the Aldi race.
2, 1, and that is time. That
Would
is
the Aldi race be
loud
like
in my
070?
headphones. That is
No,
loud
I was
in my
thinking the Audi Wraith would just be Kamal from Dog Order. You think he's going to be like what you want, and you're like, oh, okay.
So, where's my thing?
New Wraith on Armored Fell Beast is the Waitrose Wraith.
That came up earlier. Why people never use the armored fell beast, and it's a shame because it's a cool looking model.
I don't know why they got rid of the Horned Fell Beast, to be honest. That
You're-
one I could see a use for.
Well, the extra
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit too expensive for the strength, but yeah, it's got more use. I guess technically the defense has a use if you're playing again.
Oh, I just think because you can't
right? So
because you can't get a horned one anymore. It's
No,
just
you can't.
like they removed it as
Yeah.
an option, and it's just like
I
well,
think
you still got the model and the kit with the horn.
Well, they changed the way that mounted beast
Yeah.
or flying beast works. So now it's if you're higher strength as
Yeah.
opposed to just 6 or over. So I think Jay deliberately wanted to have the Eagles be able to just charge in and bowl fell beasts over.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think that's the way it's going to go. Right, we will go and into our top 5. So if we let's all do our number 5 first. Let's go round the.
We're changing the
room,
format.
Round the room. So and we'll see whose this is. My number 5 is the Dark Marshal.
Ooh.
I think his in-game ability plus his fight 6 is actually pretty good. So that's my number 5. Yeah,
He's got a 4+ instill fear as well, which people don't tend to notice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's a decent caster, and he's got a banner, and he's fight 6.
I do think he suffers from just being not quite as good as probably the other choices we're going to come up with.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. He's kind of like yes.
Like 1,000 points, he may be your second Wraith. But...
Yeah.
If he was an actual banner and not a banner effect, I think he'd be much more popular.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Or because he'd be one of the ones which you can use in addition to a banner.
Yeah.
Because of where you have to expend a point of will for it, don't you?
Yeah, and I think it's just a banner. It's not like Delgamar's where it's like in addition to count
and it's
as
not
being in range
VPs,
of a banner.
so yeah.
Yeah, it's got
6 inches at least, right?
Yeah, it is 6 inches.
That's what she said.
But yeah, he's decent. 14 wills, nothing to be sniffed at either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he's as good a spellcaster as any of the others as well, on top of being quite a good guy for combat. So, good choice.
Alistair.
I have Kamal from obviously the Mordor range.
Okay.
Generally, he can go up to fight 6. He can get his will back. He's probably the best combat Wraith. He may not be the best caster, but he can do a transfix or whatever you need at a push. And,
and he can regain will.
Yeah.
He can also lead Eastling as well if you're so inclined. You also don't have to put him on a fell beast to make him combat potential, because you can put him on a horse and then just use his ability to give him a second attack on a horse if you're strapped for points.
Yeah.
Because you can still charge it to 2 people, get 2 will back.
Yeah. Nice. Gethin, number 5.
The Forsaken. The Doggle Wraith.
Which one's that?
The one that
with the
rerolls
trident
wound.
spear, isn't it?
It's a spear, which is pretty good. Just
Yeah.
like very niche situations.
Yeah.
But also the fact that you can just reroll all wounds.
Yeah, nice.
So just gives them a higher chance of the killing.
Because you got Bane of Kings.
I don't know if it's
Well,
Bane of
yeah, so-
Kings. He just has a special roll that says he rerolls.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, Bane of Kings equivalent.
Pretty much that, yeah.
CJ.
I've gone for Dolguld Witch King because he doesn't have any special rules or bonuses, but with 3 might at 75 points, he's already a good investment, but it means he is guaranteed to be incredibly annoying on the resurrection rolls.
Yeah.
Assuming that's what you're keeping for. And what you can do as a little niche is have Bolg leading Legion or Hunters. He's Valor, and so is the Witch King. So the Witch King you can just have as an unkillable general while Bolg goes smashy smash.
Bolg goes Bolg.
Yeah,
But you won't get the Master of Battle if you do that.
they're green allies, so
No, but I mean,
Oh,
as
it has
in,
to be the leader.
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
It's still not bad.
I've looked at that. That was a thing that got FAQ'd because I'm pretty sure it did anyway because people were looking to
Yeah.
exploit that.
Because people were going to take
No,
Azog's
fair enough.
Hunters and give them, I think it was Azog's Hunters with a mercenary captain, and then give like
And see
Bolg
if-
or something.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
the army going to still say Azog or Bolg, but I think it was if you take Azog from Azog's Hunters and Bolg from Azog's Legion, which one gets? Well,
okay.
you get Master of Battle from whichever one. So, my number 4 is the Shadow Lord. For obvious reasons.
Actually, completely forgot about the Shadow Lord.
Cool, what?
Right,
Call
he used to be
yourself a
better.
competitive player.
For
Oh,
obvious.
I don't take shooting really, do I? So I'm just
Yeah.
Is
like,
the Shadow Lord still? I guess.
yeah.
I guess he's still like competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, considering Matt Light's won a couple of events, like now
Oh,
taking
with
the
the
Shadow
Lord.
Lord.
Lord,
Okay.
Yeah. It's-
like the Shadow Lord,
and-
Spider Queen combos,
and
pretty
Rangers.
Yeah, I just
And
thought that. Yeah.
Rangers,
and the Harad.
Harad Gunline, Isengard to a certain extent. Like,
Yeah.
he's still
Corsairs.
Corsairs.
Yeah.
He's still useful. Alistair. you're number
I
4.
went for the Lingering Shadow.
Oh.
The additional 3-inch popping around move is
Boing.
highly effective and useful in
Yes.
nearly any scenario.
Yeah. Isn't it also if he dies and if he resurrects, he gets 9-inch move basically?
Yeah.
Or do you not get the
Yeah.
3-inch? Is it? When's the 3-inch jump? Is that
Before
you do get it.
priority.
before priority?
So yeah, you can go boing, boing, then move.
Yeah.
All right, so you go up to 15-inch in one turn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, that guy's got the prize. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, stab.
It's basically what Will did to me in one event once. So.
It's the fact that none of your support pieces are ever safe. Your banner,
Yeah.
you've got to keep guarded. Your Kurdans, whatever,
Yeah.
and that's incredibly annoying. And he
Unless-
as well is a very easy ally into a lot of evil Hobbit lists.
Well,
So-
Will took what was it? Azog's Legion.
So he had a
No.
freeway. Sorry.
Yeah.
That one wasn't intentional. So he took a bit of everything.
What was it? Hunters.
So he had Hunter Orcs with like the Hunter Heroes. Then he
Yeah.
just dropped the Lingering Shadow in, and then I think he had
Goblin Mercenaries as well, didn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good mix, Squirrel.
It highly effective.
Squishy, but
Yeah,
Pretty
it
sure
was-
he won the event actually. So
Yeah.
it's still squishy. That doesn't change that.
that shows you the value of
Yeah.
the Lingering Shadow. That not even dropping in any troops, although he would give you access to Mirkwood Spiders and
Yeah.
Ghoulies from that list. But yeah, just I'm having him just because he's that useful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because wasn't the lingering? It wasn't Narzog as general as well.
yeah,
So
Wouldn't the Shadow have to be Narzog's
No.
Fortitude, isn't he?
yeah. So are the wraiths.
Are they?
I think so.
I thought they were Valor.
I thought they were Valor.
I could.
Don't-
Be
I
wrong.
think the Lingering Shadow was the general.
And that's
That's
not a
annoying.
bad general to have
Yeah.
either.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's not
He'll-
gonna
he'll
die.
put
He
out
may,
of any-
Doesn't he have to be Valor? Oh no,
Yeah.
it's green,
Yeah.
so he can be Fortitude.
yeah, you may concede the one VP
Oh, they
for
are
general
Valor.
wounds
They are
easy,
Valor.
but
But-
Yeah. It's like you can't
Yeah.
trap their general because he's just going to go poof and he's
Yeah.
gone.
and he's 15 inches that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all here. They're all Valor,
Yeah.
the DGs.
So Geffen, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Tainted.
I think you mean The Tainted.
The
Tainted.
Tainted.
His proper title.
Yeah, the Tainted. Just because he's one that didn't really get hit too hard.
He got
He
Like,
got 2 might in this one. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
made
yeah, I was
better.
gonna say like because obviously all the wraiths got nerfed from the magic, but like yeah, his special rules didn't get hit, whereas pretty much every single other wraith did.
Yeah.
Is he 16 will as well? Or 14?
That's Dwemer Lake is 16.
German Lake 16,
Apparently,
definitely.
Hamish is saying they're at the tournament and will wrongly have the Hunter Rock as leader.
I want my.
Ooh, cheat.
Well,
Which event is that, Hamish? Because
It
the one that I was
would
on
have
about
been
was the scaring of Epping or whatever.
I think
I
it
think-
was Stockport, wasn't it?
Has he done it twice? If he cheated at scaring, I want those 100 points, and I want that third place off Will from that year or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Tainted only has 14 will.
it's not bad.
But still, yeah, it's good and like average casting values.
And he gets to stop stand fast and heroic moves and all that other stuff, which
And
can
then-
really be a pain in the
Oh
ass.
yeah,
for
heroic
opponents.
actions. Yeah.
There's also the worrying thing of the 6, like although it's a 6+, it could happen.
Yeah, the seeping
So-
wound. Yeah, seeping decay.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Could you remind me what you spend a will to block heroic actions or stand
And-
fast? Is that right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
at the beginning, let's use a will,
At
and
the start of the move
no one
phase.
can use specifically at the double or like the things to make it affect troops. So your hero could still move first if you call a heroic move, but no one within 6 inches could.
Okay, so you can still
Okay.
call the heroics. You just can't do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just warriors can't move.
Yeah, block all heroics would be unbelievably useful,
yeah,
especially in a low might Angmar list.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's still really useful, I'd say, because I'd say like maybe like 10% of the times that you do a heroic move, you only want the hero.
Yeah, see, I've got
He's usually blocked or something.
Yeah, you want you do the heroic move
The
to
troops.
get the troops moving.
see, I've got a sort of evil list with Black Numenorians and the Tainted and sort of Morgul Knights, because it's there basically the Morgul Knights go, alright, either you do move first and we will cause terror of -1, or we move first and you call a hurt move, and then I'll just tainted you so you can't move first anyway.
Yeah.
I always thought
Yeah.
about doing that, but with obviously a bit lesser, but Warg Riders. Just
Yeah.
tainted in there with Warg Riders just to keep throwing in those 2 attack to strength 4.
Yeah.
I think people do forget that all of the named wraiths are available in the Mordor list,
Oh yeah.
not just their
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
specialisms.
Yeah, because I allied that into actually Harad, so I've then got a 6-inch banner with that and then cheap spearman.
Wow.
That's
Nice idea.
I think that's
Scary.
the best list to ally a wraith in. Obviously, you have the betrayer, but Harad and dropping stuff into that is just
Soldad's just so good for his points.
Yeah,
He
he's
is,
so good.
Yeah.
So CJ, you're number 4.
Betrayer in the Harad gun line. Doesn't need a lot of exposition.
Mm.
It
He's
doesn't even
just-
have to be in a Harad gun line though, to be honest.
It's
got-
not terrible.
he's got
Obviously,
Bane-
the poison's amazing.
Well, he's
but-
got Bane of Kings.
The Bane of Kings, especially on Fellbeast, is such a little bit. Oh crap!
Contest champions, anyone?
He can
Yeah.
chomp through troops a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't go above fight 5, but
Mm-hmm.
That you just
I mean,
don't go against heroes.
transfix that hero who's threatening you, and then just go like smash
Yep.
a whole lot of
You don't even need to
troops.
transfix. You're on a hell beast. Fly away. Like,
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
a horde of orcs to get through and his own
He-
models. So.
He, the Knight of Umbar, and Kamul are the combat wraiths with the crap casting, but even so, it's 4+ transfix. So
Yeah.
yeah, it still
Yeah.
comes in clutch when you need it, and then he'll mangle anything. But primarily, it's that you can stick him behind a god ton of bows and just
And
I played Ali at a
and
tournament.
blowpipes and
Yes.
blowpipes.
so I was
And their combat weapons.
I
Yeah.
was doing storm the camp against Ali with my Ministerious Defense 7 frontline, and I removed 9 of my 32 models Defense 7 before combat. It's
Didn't it?
straight
Wasn't it you
2
just something
bows.
like 2 models off breaking by the time we actually got to
Yeah.
combat?
And then you had the
Jesus.
fight 4 with the poison reroll, and Suda Dan ran off and stole my camp, you bastard.
If
The
it
play
makes
is
you
great.
if it makes you feel better, I haven't taken that list since because I was just like I'm just shooting stuff and it's not really
Yeah.
like I'm not having to think about this other than do I want to roll an in-way over there? 'Cause it's like an extra dice roll. I can't be asked.
It's also kind of, I find that for both players, gun lines are kind of boring. And this comes from someone who made Tau for 8 years.
Mhm.
So all my 40k is about gun lines and shooting. Boom. I just found in Lord of the Rings is just it is literally you just sit there and shoot.
Yeah.
And
I tried Rangers of Athelion. You just roll in buckets of dice. I'm bored. You're bored, and you're dead with no recourse.
I genuinely think at like 450 points, I could win with Rangers of Athelion without firing a bow shot. Like,
probably.
Just because that's how good the list is anyway. Before you go, oh, and everyone's got a bow.
I was gonna say it's got tons of might. It's all fight for.
Yep.
Yeah,
you got
loads of
ring in
models.
Yeah.
If you, I don't. Do you take Frodo at 450?
Not unless you're forced to by some like incredibly like handsome TOs.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Was not controversial at all for like one member of the community, I think, or something.
So my number 3 is the Lingering Shadow. We'll probably fly through these last ones because we've all spoken about them already. My number 3 is the Lingering Shadow for all things outlined previously. Alistar, number 3.
Oh, I've got the Tainted.
The Tainted. Excellent. Gethin.
Because it ruins CJ's tournament.
Yeah.
I got Shadow Lord 3.
Nice.
I went for Mordor's Witch King. It's Orang Mars. He is just such a good Swiss Army knife with excellent casting. Instill fear on a 4. Break your staff. More crown. So he could. The more crown. The most annoying thing about that is you can just one dice black darts, and 55% of the time you'll get them off. So you can just like, that little support hero over there, that banner. Pew.
Yeah. The Witch King is great.
Yeah,
he is great.
He's good fun.
And he's so customizable.
Yeah.
It can be whatever points you want, any mount you want.
He's also the Witch King.
Yeah.
So it's just cool just having him in your army.
Yeah.
Especially when you get like the flaming sword model and stuff like that. I really want the horse Witch King with the flaming sword.
Yeah, I think that's the one everyone wants, but it isn't available now.
Yeah.
As a quick aside, I really wish Flaming Sword and the Morning Star Flail had got some good rules in this edition.
What would you give the Flaming Sword? Like on a 6, they become like
Set of Blaze.
On
a natural 6, they go on Set of Blaze.
You get like
you mean
like
that? You mean
that
that
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But like
nice
maybe,
shiny metal.
Maybe he could take the Mogul Blade or Flaming Sword upgrade, and once per game you can go for a Flaming Sword for a set of Blaze or something.
You know, my one issue with that model is it reminds me of probably my least favourite scene from the entire trilogy, which is in the extent. Yeah, because it's there going that shouldn't have happened. Really. No. Yeah, basically, and it didn't. It didn't make it into like the theatrical cut, but it's the one time like watching it extended, I was like.
The one issue I have with that is he goes, "Well, your stuff is broken," and he goes, "Bang!" And the next clip, Gandalf has his stuff.
Oh yeah, his staff is a different length though.
Is it?
Oh no, are you on about immediately after?
Issue.
Oh no, I mean he's got a different staff for Blackgate.
Does he?
Yeah. So I only found this out recently, like somewhere in the making of.
Stick.
I think he's got 3 different staffs Gandalf the White throughout the film, or 2, something like 2, and one of them's shorter because it was the replacement.
There's also an odd continuity bit if you skip over the fact that he snaps Gandalf and then doesn't finish eating him before going to deal with Rohan, because he goes off to deal with the Rohan horn. Then later, when the troll's banging on the door with Gandalf and Pippin going, "We're going to die, yes we are," there's a bit where he flies past the shot and it's clearly him with the crown. And then much later, after the elephants and whatever, then he goes and eats Theoden. So
yeah, you just fly around for a while.
Yeah,
I guess he's trying to find Theoden, and it's just like, is it that guy? No, that's Aemir. That guy?
You're still in Minas Tirith.
I reckon those fell beats were pretty hard to like direct. You probably miss. You know, like when you go down the motorway and you miss your turning, and like, oh, for God's sake, I've got to go another 15 minutes there and then 15 minutes
Even worse
back.
than that. It's like playing a game where the like handling of the vehicle's awful. Just
Yeah.
like-
Slight left, U-turn. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Was anyone else a bit like me when they just play GTA that they try to obey the driving laws at some points and it's just like impossible?
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I used to do. I was just like, I want to run over people. Oh, there goes a lamppost. Oh, there's another one. Oh no.
That's Simpsons hit and run for me.
Yeah. Oh, what a
So-
chaotic game.
When
Lewis
you
says
go in the
the-
rocket car and you just can't take a turn already hits. You just. Sorry, Gethin, what you found?
Lewis is saying that Gandalf does not have a staff after it's broken. He takes a lance from the Pseudo Guard to kick Denethor.
Yes, but later
Not
on
sure.
he still has his staff again.
I
doesn't he?
think they edited it out of the extended for continuity.
But he
At
still,
least it is in the
he has it.
Blu-ray.
He has it in the Black Gate.
yeah,
'cause I think the scene where him and Pippin are talking about dying, he's just got his sword. I don't think he's got a
Yeah,
staff or
maybe.
anything there. I'd have to rewatch
I'd
the,
have to watch
the
it.
battle scene.
Yeah,
which-
this necessitates a rewatch. We must watch
Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
we'll be
Mhm.
back in 12 hours.
Yeah. So my
So
number
two.
my number 2 is the Betrayer.
Mhm.
I just think he's amazing.
Mhm.
In a especially in a Harad Farhad alliance, like his worth goes even more. Ali's played against it on TTS.
You say I've played against it. I moved models.
Yeah, well, you took off models. Yeah,
I didn't even really take off models, did I? Because it was on TTS.
Yeah.
It's like I simulated like.
Mhm.
Do you throw models on TTS? Because like I could never do this in real life, but
Oh, you can flip a table if you want.
You
on
can flip-
TTS. I
yeah,
love that.
And you can
There's-
flick models.
yeah. There's also a
Yeah.
That causes
boing.
issues.
So you build your list on
Yeah.
the army base, and then it's like, where's the biggest thing? Flick everything.
Yeah.
Great fun.
I
The
know.
worst thing on TTS is when you and it was like highlighting a unit to move it up in sync
Fine.
and then clicking, is it right click and it like
Click and
bunches
it-
them together. It's like, no.
Yeah. If
But
you
can
don't
undo.
if you don't let go, you press escape, it will go back to where it was. I've learned that
really?
one.
Yeah.
Okay, I just control Z, like, yeah, control Z and just
Because I
wait.
tend not to undo
Controls it and just wait.
because it can completely mess it up. Based like
Yeah.
TTS doesn't like it when you
Yeah.
undo.
Mm.
Oh dear.
Like, he apparently goes two-handed with Glamdring.
I think
Yeah, I remember,
think
like,
this
seeing
just
that.
shows we need to watch the films
Maybe
It's
when he's
been
on
a while.
horse.
I was going to say I haven't
Weirdly,
watched
I
them in
haven't
like
watched
6
it.
months.
I haven't watched them since like lockdown began. Like I haven't watched them at all in lockdown, which is
Really?
weird considering like you would have thought when you
I
got
think
nothing else to do.
I'm trying to remember when I did.
I've
So I
watched,
forced
I
my girlfriend
watched
to watch
Should-
the extended.
Should I tell you what I've watched more? Is I've watched
Good
the
lad.
making of.
the
Like
Yeah.
making of
I love the making of. The making
Yeah.
of stuff's so good. I watched all of the, because last summer I was ill and watched all of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit making ofs.
They're
Mm.
great. They're awesome.
I always
Oh,
feel
right.
sorry for on the third Battle of Five Armies one where you just like basically have a 30-second shot of Peter Jackson just being depressed and irritable.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
sat like going, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Right, Alistar, number 2.
The Tainted.
No, that's your number 3.
No, the Betrayal was my number 3.
You definitely said the Tainted.
No, I corrected Geffen because he said Tainted. And then
You
I said the
definitely said
Betrayal.
number 3. Cool.
Now,
that's
when
fine.
this is recording, like we're gonna go back like afterwards and like
Cool. The Tainted. Excellent. Carry on. Gethin, number 2.
Lingering Shadow.
Yeah, that's me too. Lingering Shadow number 2.
Ah, nice.
I'm going to assume there's not going to be many surprises now.
I was going to say, my number 1 is the Witch King. For Angmar and for Mordor, he's just very, very good.
Mhm.
my number 1 is Kamul.
Okay.
No, it's Witch King. I'm going for Angmar just because I think like he's actually better in Angmar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
I
agree.
agree. And I don't give him
That's fair.
I don't give him a Felbeast in Angmar either. And he's
Yeah.
very good.
I guess your Mordor's got so much that is good. Like all those 3 Might Heroes, especially the new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gethin?
Witch King as well.
Witch King?
So I'm going to break the number 1
I was
strategy.
You
gonna say
are.
it's not because
I
you already
went
said the Witch King.
I said the Witch King twice already. Shadow Lord, I think it's the number one. Because in the previous edition, that was the one that you stuck in everywhere, and in this edition, not quite as much. But even now, because of what we've discussed, where the meta is so shooting dominated at the moment, people are still
It can be definitely
backwards to find ways to get him in. There are so many good models with Kurdan, Lady of Light, and Gandalf, and blah blah, that can provide you the shooting protection. Shadow Lord is the only one on the evil side, and evil doesn't have defense 7 troops going around either, unless you're doing like Gleaming Hordes, Cataphracts. So,
at which point you've probably got other issues.
Then you just shoot the horses, right?
You're taking these
and then they
things
lose
for a
it.
start.
So, yeah, I think also
Quick accuracy.
there's a very good Polish list, I think, by Jakub Krokmal, who does the Shadow Lord on Fell Beast with the Spider Queen with Bat Swarms, and the toolkits that those give you is just insane.
As Jakub sort of like mentioned, and then it's been used by Matt Light to variations.
Not Matt King.
Yeah, Matt. My brother has no like capability to use a list with that many functioning like special rules that he doesn't know at the moment.
Well, he took the Hobbits.
Yeah, and how many rules did he forget like that weekend?
Matt,
or get
if
wrong.
you're still around.
Please tell me you remembered throw stones.
I'm pretty sure that one he did.
Yeah. So,
probably thought it was only 2 inches though, or something. Yeah.
Throwing weapon.
Yeah.
Wow, imagine that. That'd be disgusting.
Can you imagine just a Hobbit scooping a stone as he's running forward to charge an Uruk and just being like, I hope this works.
Doesn't still gets -1 though, because it's a Hobbit.
Yeah.
It's like he's kicking the stone at them or something.
Yeah. So that's our top 5 named race each. Who do you think is the best? That's
I'd be surprised if anyone can remember like any individual of ours consecutive.
He's got it on the
5. You've got it.
It's all on the screen. So
what are the differences? So I've got Kamal, and
so there's three
Shadow.
There's 3 of us that have the Witch King. No, we all have the Witch King, various orders. Three of us have the Betrayer.
Yeah, I haven't got Betrayer, I've got Forsaken instead.
3 of us have the Shadow Lord. There's 2 for the Tainted. The Lingering Shadow is in everyone's. And then we've each got like a 5th kind of unique one. Yeah. So I've got Dark Marshal, you've got Kamal, Geffin's got the Forsaken, and CJ's got the Nazgul of Dol Guldur Witch King. So yeah, it's. I think as competitive players, we're in pretty much agreement that there's 3 or 4 that are stand out.
I think it'd be like, even though obviously we do have repeats, I feel like last edition it'd be even less varied. We'd probably have like the same order last edition.
Yeah. Well, you'd have Shadow Lord. Well, Dwimmer Lake, Shadow Lord.
I mean, you would last edition. You would have the Undying, possibly at number 1, just purely because
Undying Shadow Lord would be top 2.
Yeah. It's interesting actually how the Undying's gone out of favour so much, even though he's still.
He's exactly the same.
Yeah.
He doesn't
get strike.
He just can't regain will. Like
I think it's literally because you usually want to take a hero of legend.
Yeah.
And he can't be the general if you do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hasn't got strike, so it's usually like the thing of, well, I'm going to be taking a Witch King, so there's no point taking the Shadow Lord. Or I'm going to be taking Suladan, there's no point taking the Shadow Lord.
I was going to say,
Shadow Lord? Okay. Sorry, Undying.
Geff made a good point. He's gone down in will. Like
from 20 to 18, I think. Yeah.
I don't think that makes too much difference.
No, but it's still...
he also has to expend a point of will to gain will back.
Yeah.
So you can't do the stuff with shamans unless you've got a ton of shaman.
But you also don't see many double Wraith armies anymore.
No, you tend to get a named Wraith and a baby Wraith, or Tesco Wraith, or Budget Wraith, or Aldi Wraith, or
Little Wraith.
Never a Sainsbury's Wraith though. You don't put that with the named one.
No,
I have done Witch King.
They can't taste the difference.
Okay. How many points?
As low as like 500, 550. It wasn't the most competitive thing in the world, but the fact that the Witch King is like the Tesco Wraith, so very customizable to whatever
Yeah.
you need it to be. Actually, yeah, because Double Wraith does the ability to do 2 compels, all that kind of thing, just opens up a lot of options.
I guess
So-
the thing
so-
of the Fell Beast just isn't. It's still good, but it's just not as
No,
good
it's
as
not
it
as
was.
prevalent. Like in the old
Mm.
edition, like everyone, like a lot of armies I saw was running Shadow Lord Undying, whereas I
Mhm.
opted for Witch King Undying because he's just like you say, even in the old edition, he was flexible, and he has his stuff is broken, and there was so many wizards flying around. So when you've got 2
Yeah.
casters and one of them's got your stuff is broken, it was just
And hobbits for Paladin Took.
See, I always remember a game, I think it was against Sam Jeffries, where I had Raddy on Slay. I was using my Eagle Army, and then he
Yeah.
had Witch King with staff is your staff is broken. And then we were just stuck in this thing where, like, I only need a 2+ for you to lose your Fell Beast.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to 1 dice at every turn. And it's just like, in the end, he like gave up because he realised he was losing a lot of will.
So yeah, so that's our top 5. Let us know in the comments who you think is the best. So next, before my chair slides way backwards, we will move on to kind of some quick tournament reviews. We're not going to run through the top 3 lists like we did previously. We're just going to chat a bit about the events and everything surrounding it. We'll say who came in the top 3 and what faction they were using, and if we can remember their list, we'll have like a quick, like, what were the main things in their list. So
Well, just on a side note, I will, if I get round to it, at the end of each month, update on the GBHL website, put all top 3 lists
Cool.
from tournaments, so people can check those out.
perfect.
So people can plagiarize wildly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, before we get into it, I remember, so my Howard gun line, I used that army twice at the start of the edition, and I remember the first time I went to like one of the Cardiff events, and I knew it wasn't optimized because I didn't have like Serpent Guard in it, and I had like some captains instead, and I didn't have Soledad.
Yeah,
Went to the
I
next-
played that list.
Yeah, and I did the same thing to you. Like I did the CJ.
Yeah.
but I then went to the next event and like I put the Serpent card and all that. But someone had literally taken exactly the same list as what I had taken to
Oh, really?
the Cardiff event. And I was like, I know you've clearly taken exactly the same thing because it's not optimized, and you wouldn't do that if you were just
Yeah.
building the list normally. It just happened to be the models I had at the
Models,
time.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm.
You also did better than me at the event.
That hurts.
Oh,
that's
I mean,
funny.
irony.
It must have been optimized then, right?
That's
But
funny.
no, it was a good and evil. So
That's funny.
Uh,
So we will go on to my event that I ran. So I ran this with Luke as the Guardians team, and because of COVID and the changes to everything, it dropped to an 80-point GBHL event. So the format was a 550-point weekend event. So on day 1 it was random groups, and then everyone was put into one big table, and sorted into the groups for day 2 from that. And then in day 2 it was Swiss ranking as much as possible, bar the final game where you play whoever you have played. So we found as TOs, the group system was really, really, really interesting. And towards the end of day 1, going into the final game, it was, especially in Ali's group, it was all up in the air. So there was a few competitive people, and then the top 8 weren't separated by that many points. So on day 1, only one person won all 4 games.
Was that?
It was Dave Farmer who ironically won that. So we'll go through the top list, and then we'll talk about kind of how everything sorted out. So in third place was Sean Creed with Minas Tirith. He had Boromir, Faramir, and Guys, a couple of Fountain Court,
few nights,
mainly Warrior Minas Tirith,
few
4
Rangers.
nights, a few Rangers,
There's
yeah.
the
Yeah,
solid
27
combo.
models.
27 models, because you
yeah.
played this. We'll get onto kind of your games very quickly in a bit.
Do you have to?
Yeah.
I'm
Second,
interested about second day, Ali.
yeah. Second place was Sean Lang with Fiefdoms. So he had Imrahil, Forlong, and pretty much as full ones as he could get. Ali, you again played this list.
Did I?
Yeah,
Think
you did.
forgot.
Yeah, you did.
Who was the sorry?
Sean Lang, He's from Taunton, Bridgewater, Southwest way.
It's becoming a big name in the south, actually.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
I say a big name.
So,
Being in the south, no one knows who we are anyway.
Yeah.
As soon as you go
Yeah.
to Nottingham, but
so I think he has the title of getting wooden spoon at one event, and the very next tournament he went to, he won it. So yeah, he out of nowhere has become very good, especially with fiefdoms. That's one of his go-tos. He had like 9 rangers, 9 Black Root Bell Archers, I think it was, and then 4 Knights of Ministerial on horse, which I thought was quite a lot. But yeah, he seemed to do well. He had about 20. Knights of Dartmouth, sorry. But yeah,
I was just like,
I was going to let that go, but Ali had to pounce.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that seems really weird.
I could
That's
just
a
see
lot of
Geffen
points.
being really confused.
What did I say? What did I say?
Knights of Ministerial.
You said Knights of
Okay,
Ministerial, so I was just
yeah.
like 4 knights plus a captain at 550.
Yeah, no. He had Imrahil Forlong, 4 Knights of Dol Amroth, and 9 Black Roots, and then a smattering of other stuff.
Okay.
From what I understand. And then first place is Mr. Farmer with Kira Thumgol. So he had obviously Shagrak, Gorbag, Shelob, and he had another Orc captain. And all the Orcs had shield and spears, Ali? You played against this, but not in the tournament.
So yeah, I think it was 12 Orcs with shields, and then 1 banner, and then he filled the rest with all Orcs with spears and shields.
Yeah.
So it came up to, I think, 32 models?
Sounds about right.
I may be wrong. But yeah, something about that.
So yeah, so in the groups on day 1, you not everyone played everyone. Because there was 6 people in the group, and you'd have to have 5 games. We only had 4, so you each missed out. So it was a really weird situation where it was Ali's group actually, and it was Ali involved. So there was obviously 6 people, and out of your group, 2 qualified, yourself and Alex Richardson, who beat Callum Edens to get there at his first tournament. So it's pretty impressive. And he had the Black Gate Opens. And so Ali and Alex didn't play day 1, and they were in the same group. They went into the same group day 2, still didn't play. And then in that same group was Dan and Ewan, who both ended up in the bottom group and didn't play day 1 and didn't play day 2 either. Yeah. It was just it was really fun.
We wanted to work together as a group as much as possible.
It was really fun. So we
so as a team, not
So
I don't think it worked though.
So going into the final, so we awarded 6 points for a win. If your VP difference between 1 and 3, you got 6 points for a win. If it was between 4 and 6, your VP diff, you got 6.5 points. And if your VP difference was 7 or more in your game, you got 7 points for a win. And if you lost, it was 1 point if you were within 1 to 3, half a point if you were within 4 to 6, and nothing if you lost by 7 or more. So going into the final game, especially in Ali's group, Ali needed like a big win. He needed Callum to have a big loss.
Well, no, I assume it was Alex's
so
first. So I lost to Callum in a close game early in the day.
Game 2, I think it was.
Yeah, so I think it was like a 4-2 loss.
Yeah.
And then I was going into the last game assuming, like, no offense to Alex, but that Callum would get a result against Alex because it was Alex's first event and I never played him. Still haven't.
Yeah. I was going to say, not necessarily a big win, but just a win.
Yeah, just a win. And then so I was going to have to go and qualify as like one of the 6th best players or something like that. So I was like, I need a big win, which I then ended up getting in my last game. But I didn't realise what had happened in Callum's game.
Yeah. So because Callum, it was Command the Battlefield was the last scenario of day 1, and Callum's Thorin came on the centre of one board edge, doesn't necessarily matter, and Thranduil didn't turn up, and so Alex's whole army came on around Thorin, and and it was obviously the Troll Chieftain, an Orc Captain on Warg, and Mathil Sauron, and he just chomped through the dwarves and smashed Thorin in like 2 turns.
Oh, okay.
Sweet.
And then Callum threw Thranduil in at the end, and he died as well. So that took it from like a 6-0 to an 8-0, which is obviously a tournament point difference, which meant Alex finished on 21 points and Callum finished on 20.
And I ended up finishing on 21 and a half, I think.
Yeah. So if Callum hadn't thrown Thranduil in, Alex would have lost half a point and Callum would have gained half a point, so they'd been on the same, and Callum's VP diff was better. So therefore, so at the end of day one, there was Farmer on 26.5, Sean Lang on 24, Ali on 21.5, then 3 on 21, 1 on 20.5, and 1 on 20, and then it was like 18, I think, was the next one. So so it was really close for that top group.
Because the thing was, like, obviously I was thinking that I was still going to only qualify as a 5th or 6th, but then on the other groups, like, Clubly lost.
So Clubly won all 3 games going into game 4 and lost because Maelstrom screwed him over a little bit.
Choke.
Then Farmer and Sean played on the last game, I think. Sean Creed and Dave Farmer played in the last game, and then in the other one, Sean Lang drew his last game, I think.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting, and all the points carried over to day 2. And then so in day 2, it was just Swiss within, and then everyone who won their group got a prize. So
did day 2 happen? I don't remember.
Yeah. So what happened in your day 2?
Well, basically, it was all ruined by McDonald's. So
the Bristol venue is from where I live, and the way most people go to the Bristol airport is en route, and there's a McDonald's there, and it seemed to be last weekend, and it was just chocker the whole weekend. It was so busy.
It was the morning after the quarterfinal, England quarterfinal.
Yeah.
And I think before me and Clovely went to put our breakfast order, they'd had a Uber Eats, whatever it is, order come through for about 20 breakfasts. And so we were there like waiting for half an hour for him just to get a Coke and me to get like McDonald's breakfast. In the end, like, we just ran out of time, and I was just like, I got my money back and had to run back to the venue.
And then you played Sean and Sean Creed. There's 2 Seans. It's really confusing.
I played Sean Lang first. No, Sean Creed first.
Yeah, played Sean Creed first, and so his table, Ali's table, was the closest table to where me and Luke were sitting as TOs. CJ, you're really in the dark, by the way.
Yeah, the sun has set on me. I am the Shadow Lord. I have.
It's basically the Balrog's gone back.
I've only just noticed how dark it's got.
Yeah, give me a minute. I'll go sort it.
That's all right.
It's not that dark outside for me.
I was gonna say
it depends where the window is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sean and Ali played, and it was breakthrough. No, domination. And it ended up, they both got to the end of the game, and there was like a couple of combats left. No. So the last round of combat, what happened? Because
I had Thorin and a guy on a charging knight, and I had my captain and a guy on a fountain court who they'd failed to kill for about 3 turns already in a row, despite being able to piercing strike.
Fountain court had a shield.
Yeah, and then I also had a dwarf warrior, and Thor on another contesting another objective, and realistically, what happened is Sean assured me there was no way I could lose, and I kind of like believed him.
No, there was no way you could.
And to be fair, I wasn't. I think he was there going, and basically Thorin flubbed his dice. He took 2 wounds. Not that it mattered, but it meant that the knight was still contesting that objective. My captain and dwarf warrior failed to kill the Fountain Court guard guy for the 4th, 5th turn in a row, and then the last dwarf warrior, all he needed to do was actually lose the combat, I think, or win and kill the ranger. Because if he lost combat, Sean wouldn't have been able to back into the objective. And then if I won the combat and killed the ranger, he wouldn't have the model to back in anyway. Basically, none of those came off, and then it turns out we had a draw when I thought I still had a minor win. But
yeah. So they were both like, Ali's got the win. Just rack through this final round of combat. Time is finished and whatnot. And Sean went, I can back away this way. And Ali's like, yeah, fair enough. And then 4-all draw, and it was like, oh. And me and Luke were stood there like, oh dear. Yeah, that's not what anyone said was going to happen.
Really?
So I can take like a game sort of where like you have dice rolls like that, and it wasn't like Sean was a bad player or played it stupidly.
Yeah.
I assume from hearing, I've not met Sean, but from hearing you guys talk about it, he's also not like a sore winner as well.
Oh no,
like that. So he's not. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. So it's one of those people where it's like you're fine to get that kind of draw.
He's one of the short people who doesn't have a Napoleon complex.
Yeah.
So what would be an example, without naming a name, of a sore winner on the
Oh,
GTHL
Geffen, he's awful. Like, he's an absolute knob.
What does that look like? Do they just go like, loser, champion?
I guess just being like cocky about it and being like, oh, that was easy, or I've definitely heard, like, it wasn't against me, but there was someone, it was a top player as well. Once again, we're not going to name any names.
I mean, you can say it's Kalman, like, we all know. Like.
Kalman never gets easy wins. Come on, it's great to everyone. But there was someone who was saying, that was an easy win, and I went to like talk to the person that they played against because it was one of my friends. It was like a 1-point victory, like victory points by 1. It's like, is that really an easy win?
Yeah,
an easy win would be 12-0, like table wiping.
Yeah,
just like that's a sore winner. That kind of person.
Yeah.
To be fair, in honesty, I'm probably not in the best position to say, purely because I think the sore winners are always when they play players that they don't know who they are, and so like they just assume that.
Yeah.
Because usually once you start going to enough events and competing, like for example, I may play Dewi. Dewi may beat me, and he may go yes or whatever and stuff like that. But I know that's fine because.
Yeah.
Whereas if I didn't know Dewi, it may come across more negatively.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the people who are not the sorest winners but take the most pride in the wins are people who know how good their opposition is. So
whereas I remember quite distinctly where
someone shot Howard Gunline off you on the board and was
I think he'd won by 1 point, and then the first thing he said after time up was, "You should have won that really easily."
Oh, I do hate that comment.
Like, you dickhead.
You know how people actually say like, "Oh, it's really good to tell your opponent like where they went wrong and stuff like that, and help them learn." I think it's fucking like annoying sometimes. It's just like unless
they ask what they've done wrong, then
because otherwise it does come across as condescending. It's like
and just arrogant.
I've played Ed once, and after the game, I was just like, you're a much better player than me, so I was probably going to lose, but what could I have done to stand more of a chance? And then
he's not anymore. Ed's a has-been, haven't you heard?
But no, but he sat there and was just like, this is like, because you did this over here, it basically meant that I'd won that flank, and that then just like explain stuff.
Ed's quite generous with advice and time, I found.
Yeah, definitely.
He likes to talk about the hobby.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So over the course of the weekend, no one won all their games. So Farmer lost his final game, but it didn't make a difference because he was already ahead by enough points.
But he genuinely though.
But he didn't know that. So
and he wanted to because I spoke to him, but he genuinely wanted to go 7-0 at the event.
Yeah.
Because it's something to go undefeated at an event. It's like I know. The last event I won up in Ripon, I wrapped up the tournament going into the last game, but I wanted to go 6-0 because it just feels more like
it's more dominant win. So
Farmer asked me after game 5. He was like, "Oh, where?" I'm like, in and around podium. I wasn't gonna let him know, but So then that was he played Sean final game. Sean Creed played Alex Richardson final game, and then Ali played Clubley final game. And And then the other group winners. So the bottom group of day 2 was Dan Nelson with Angmar won the bottom group and also got most sporting. Then Matt King. So one of the kings got a trophy.
Hey, I got a trophy from day 1 because I ended up winning my group.
Yeah, you did. yeah. So Matt won group 3. Callum won group 2, sorry. And then that's the podium from the top. And we also handed out first place good, first, second, third good and evil armies as well.
Yeah.
So
Sean won best painted.
And Sean Creed won best painted with his non-metallic metal Minas Tirith with faded blues with an airbrush. It's ridiculous.
So good, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. They're on the Discord somewhere if anyone's interested. Go finish models and they'll be there.
Actually, an interesting thing I want to just quickly mention is like how difficult, because of where Farm obviously won the event, but he lost a game.
Yeah.
It's like at low points, it's really, really difficult to win a 7-game win all 7 games with your army, because like even if you got a good army, you don't have the redundancy when things go against you.
So in that last game, Farmer said he misjudged space very slightly, which meant Forlong and Imrahil hit Shelob. And then obviously she's probably gonna die.
Yeah.
And he just said he misjudged space a little bit, and that allowed that to happen, and then you're fighting an uphill struggle, really.
To be fair, Sean deserved it after Sean didn't deserve that luck actually after his game against me.
So go on then, explain the luck that you had.
Oh. So basically, as Dewi found hilarious, I like to talk about how much I like playing Recon with dwarves, and how I hadn't lost the game this edition with Recon. Turns out I have now, but I played Sean. I did my usual tactic, which is sort of pre-war bands and that, and it was all going perfectly well. I had 4 and a captain surrounding one guy with as many models you can get in base contact with normal infantry. Did a heroic combat with the idea that they could then bounce 5 inches towards the opponent's board edge. Next turn I can do a heroic move and a heroic march, and then I'll be beyond the reach of Imrahil and Forlong, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Who had 4 might between them at that point.
Yeah. So with 11 dice, I decide not to roll a 6, and Sean rolls a 6 on his 1 dice. And it's balls. I had 1 might left with each of them, so I had to use the might with 4 to win the combat, kill him, move on. And then it's go next turn. All right, if I win priority, it's fine. I can still do it because I don't. So Sean rolls a 2. Cool, I can win this. I roll a 1. Oh well, I've got Ring of Fraud. I can re-roll it on a 2 or higher. It's fine. Re-roll it into a 1, and then I'm there going, oh god, everything that could have gone wrong from basically that heroic combat did for me for that game. But it was a funny game, but it's just one of those ones where
it's one of those ones where you put yourself in the position, and yet it's still a dice game.
So, but that's kind of a demonstration, actually. Sometimes you can't do anything about it. You do just get screwed. Whereas if that, say, had been 700 points, I probably wouldn't have. I would have been able to have redundancy because I would have had more models to contain and stuff. But yeah.
It was very amusing. So.
And then Clubly also killed one guy with a bloody throwing weapon.
So Clubly and Ali were keeping count of throwing weapons because Clubly took Defenders of Helm's Deep with 18 throwing spears, I think it was, maybe more.
Yeah.
And 8 Galatian bows, 10 Galatian bows, and Clubly,
I had 10 Grim Hammers with throwing axes as well.
So Ali threw something like 15 weapons and killed 1. Clubly, by the time he killed that last guy, was his only kill with throwing weapons, and he'd thrown about 40.
Oh, I think it's way more than that. Isn't it? Basically, we both killed one guy each, and we had between us nearly 100 sort of thrones probably across the game. And I said, like at the beginning, again, you're going to kill one guy, and it's going to be really like significant. So it was breakthrough, and the one that he threw and killed was the guy who was stopping him getting 4 points on my like home objective. So it ended up being like a 4-point swing.
It was huge. But
Have you said about Thrall's stab?
Oh god, yeah. So this wasn't at the tournament, but and I joked about it with Clubly because I kept him just stabbing before going like one day it's gonna kill me, and then literally last week I went and played a local guy who's sort of just getting into it, and I had him fighting Frangel, so Frangel just fights 7, and I was just like, cool, I'll just stab. Not thinking much of it. He had 2 wounds left, and then it was essentially so Frangel won combat. Frangel did a wound. It's like cool, and
does the second one. Oh,
like he died. I was like, well, that went well.
Good play.
I then did kill Frangel with a throwing weapon immediately after the next turn.
Oh, excellent.
Yes,
Right, we'll move on to Harry's event, which I don't think any of us went to.
Not unless if I had a really weird, vivid dream at the weekend.
Yeah. So this is Lord of the Imps, the Two Powers, which is up in Lincoln. It was an 80-point event and run by Harry Plotkill. So this is I've not seen anyone do an event like this before from memory.
Harry's definitely done this at least once.
Okay.
He may have been trying. This may have been the third if lockdown hadn't happened.
Okay.
But yeah, there was 2019.
I think this is his second one.
Okay, nice. So it's an 800 points good v evil. So it's not you bring 2 armies. It is a good team and an evil team, and you bought a ticket for either. It was a weekend event. The main thing was your armies changed between day 1 and day 2. So what the whole stipulation was is you build your list as normal at 800 points. And you have your leader, and then you pick another hero of the same heroic tier or lower to be your lieutenant. And this guy that's all it is for day 1. And then at the end of day 1, your general and his warband are removed from your army list, and the lieutenant then becomes the general, your leader. And you can add in whatever points after that, but you cannot have a hero of a higher tier.
You can't just put that hero back in as well.
Yeah, exactly.
The false moustache.
If it was a Gandalf the Grey, and then could you put a Gandalf the White back in afterwards?
I'd allow that.
I think
you need another hero of legend to be your lieutenant. So
you could have Aragorn.
No, you could have Valor.
Oh yeah, Gandalf the White's no, Gandalf the White's only a Valor.
Gandalf the White's only a Valor. Yeah, because the Lesser's a legend.
Oh, that makes sense.
Gandalf the Grey is legend.
Depending which list.
Not in Lake Town.
Or Thorin's Company.
But it doesn't really matter actually, because he's the one that dies.
Yeah. So So you couldn't change anything else in the other warbands. You could only add to those warbands. So Harry's example was if you have Ilessar, Faramir, Madril, and warriors. Day 2 you'd have Faramir, Madril, kind of Knight of the White Tower, and warriors, that kind of thing. So really, really interesting. He also used the Middle-earth geography rules in the match play guide. And because it was a team event, it didn't affect your game, it affected whoever was on that table afterwards, which I think is pretty cool. And again, it used random groups day 1 and Swiss groups day 2 just because of COVID. So in third place was Jasmine Tetley with Rivendell, and I do have her list. I won't flash it up on the screen, but
what's this? Jasmine not winning an 80-pointer?
Yes. So her list day 1.
Will just said no.
Yeah, her list day 1 was Glorfindel, Eristor, and Radion Slay with kind of a mix of troops with Rivendell, and day 2 it was the twins, Eristor, and Radion Slay. with a couple
That's fair
more
trade.
nights. So yeah, it was.
Yeah. Call of Philadelphia Twins, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
So
How
yeah,
many points is this again? 1,000 and then 800.
no, both
No,
800.
800.
Both 800.
Both 800.
Yeah.
Alright.
So and then Nick Whitaker's was Boromir and Gandalf the White, with other stuff, and then day 2 obviously Boromir.
That's a weird thing. You can take Boromir and Gandalf the White in the same list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They deliberately cut you from doing LSR and Gandalf,
Mm.
but not.
No, Elisar and Boromir. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And then
I feel like there's too many things. There'd have to be like a couple of pages and like the,
yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's what they
book.
did in Legions, basically, or Middle Earth
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the day.
So
be loads of clarifications.
So yeah, and then I think it was Boromir and stuff day 2. I didn't look too much into that one. And then it was Mr. World Champion with Alzor's Legion, who won the event.
Mhm.
By all accounts, it was a very nice event. And we will go into Will's lists now.
Did you just say Will's in the chat? Or is this a different Will?
I don't think Will's in the
I
chat.
haven't seen it.
Yeah. Haven't seen
Chatty
it
Will.
all.
You said Will just said no. So I thought, oh, is Will
Oh,
champion
no,
this
no,
time?
Oh no.
He's talking metaphorically.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
fair
like-
enough.
Yeah,
So
Jasmine
we-
was going through all the first places and Will's just like,
Yeah.
hell no.
I'm with you
I
now.
must stop this.
No, I just thought if we're about to criticise his list, probably
Yeah, it was
bear in
crap.
mind he's in-
Clearly terrible.
No, so
I want to
here's-
say that about Will.
yeah.
He could break me.
Yeah. So
he's a big guy. He plays rugby for, was it the army?
it was
Police.
the police.
Police.
And
yeah.
then
And now he
plays
I don't
toy
think-
soldiers all day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Seventh City Gaming has their own rugby team. I'm not sure they've got a large enough staff.
I mean, Will against the rest.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I mean,
You play Will, it's just like let the Wookiee win.
Yeah. So
fair.
his list day 1 was Azog with White Warg Heavy Armor Stone Flail, 14 Gundabad Berserkers, 4 Gundabad Orcs with Spear and Shield, Bolg with Fell Warg and Orc Bow, 3 Gundabad Bats, 1 Berserker, and 1 Gundabad Orc with Banner, Spear and Shield. So, 2
Mhm.
massive heroes.
Mm.
And
Do you know if
Funny
the-
size bases.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you know if the scenarios were set prior to the event?
yes.
Okay, I was gonna say because I was saying that I was gonna go to the first one. They were set prior to that. I've just remembered what I was gonna do with Theoden with entire warband with Huron, and then just take out Theoden and put in Denethor because
Oh,
day
God.
1 was all about your
Nice.
leaders being strong. Day 2 was all about protecting the leaders.
So
It's like you could have done that for this kind of event.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in that weird case, I don't know how that would have worked in all those factors. Doesn't the lieutenant have to be your leader?
yeah, so Huron would have to be your leader day 2.
But he couldn't be because Denethor.
Yeah. We
I
need an
don't- I don't
FAQ
know,
from
yeah.
Harry.
Yeah.
Right.
So game 1 was Seize the Imp, which is a custom scenario, then Domination, and then the Imp's Curse. I'm not quite sure. So Seize the Imp, it was just like Seize the Prize, but
But he can break free, right?
he can. The Imp can, if you're not controlled,
Was-
you have to beat him in combat, and then if he's not being controlled, he can run around.
Isn't it inspired by or I assume inspired by Sterling's Fatty scenario? If you guys remember that one.
I'm not sure.
Possibly.
Basically, it was like capture the Fatty Bulger or something like that. And he just used to run around the board, like hitting you if you tried to grab him, and you had to.
Okay. And then the Imp's Curse is a variant on No Escape, the doubles scenario. So yeah.
Can I just say, off topic, but like the double scenarios are really actually disappointing for doubles games, I think.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, they don't actually encourage you to play it as a team.
No.
Like
yeah,
you most of them seem to split you up and like force you to like fight independently, which I don't like.
Well, it's
Yeah,
kind of like
but-
2 armies coming together. Rather than
I'll get
2 guys,
squashed.
isn't it?
There's a few weeks ago the Chester guys got together and there was like 5 of us, so there was a 2v2 game, and it was basically 2 players on one team just went for 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it's like, okay.
I genuinely think actually the main scenarios are better for doubles games than the double scenarios on the
Mm.
whole. Like there's one or two that maybe aren't, but
I tried to list build for the doubles recently, and it's just like all of these are your leaders are in the middle, and then the secondary forces are running to rescue them, more or less. So there's no point in shooting, and your second team member had better have march or cav
Yeah,
to
fair
get
enough.
there quickly.
Mhm.
So
But that's where you build the list, isn't it? So,
Yeah, but you don't actually end up synergizing, I think, is the issue
Yeah.
or anything like that.
yeah,
It's
fair
just
enough. I've not looked through them massively.
yeah.
I haven't either.
So
and banners are really important. Like 2 or 3 of them have a lot of VPs for having your banner alive.
oh, nice.
So bad times, because if you're an evil player, you got a hard time anyway because they don't ally with green very often,
No.
and then you got quite a few who can't take banners, goblins, for example.
Yeah.
Unless you do Balrog Legion. Oh, you can't because it's doubles.
Oh, you can do legendary legions as doubles. So what happens is one of you gets the leader, and you will always be
The
force
leader,
one
yeah.
for the
Yeah.
purpose of that, and then the other one. The issue would be having a big enough points where you and your friend have the same number of points if you're taking the Balrog Legion.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
yeah.
one person gets the Balrog, the other person just gets basic
Yeah.
goblins.
yeah. So yeah, what do we think of his day one list? It's got 14 Gundabad Berserkers,
It's a lot of death.
15 Berserkers, 3 bats. a
What
banner.
would so the scenario was capture the imp.
Capture the Imp,
Mhm.
Domination, and the Imp's Curse, which is the no escape variant, which I'm not too sure on.
So the one where you split the army in
One
half.
thing to say, just because it is good versus evil, the likelihood of the Gundabads and everyone in the list getting reroll ones to wound against elves and dwarfs
Yeah,
is significantly higher.
yeah.
It's a good
I don't
idea.
know who was in his group.
Um,
And yeah,
Potentially,
good.
you look at those scenarios and just go mobility. So here's all
Yeah.
the move 8, and here's all the flying bats. So
Mhm.
yeah,
You're funnel it, you hit hard at where you need to hit.
yeah,
Mhm.
It honestly, if it was a GBH 100, I reckon it would be a bit too fragile, like as a list. Like,
That's fair.
but at 80, you're probably going to be getting more themed stuff,
yeah.
And like,
and so you can
yeah.
really focus fire with Azog and Bolg.
also,
Mhm.
Azog and Bolg are just going to be mincing troops, especially with Stoneflail when he's got
Yeah.
3 heroics.
Yeah,
He just
Was he
ignoring
on?
characters.
Was he on the White Walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, White Warg, heavy
Yeah.
armor, Stoneflail.
It's
Yeah,
so grim when you merge those two.
Yeah, it's
Get
very,
all the
very
calf
good.
bonuses, and I'm also doing the swingy
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah. So yeah, really good.
Then-
So obviously day 2, he took
Mhm.
his Bolg's warband, so you've still got a really good general. He then added 11 berserkers to that warband, or no, added another 10 berserkers to that warband. Sorry. Then had 2 goblin mercenary captains with 12 goblin mercenaries and 6 goblin mercenaries, and then a Gundabad orc captain with 4 Gundabad bats.
So
So-
what are the scenarios on the second day again?
The scenarios on the second day are where are we? Here we are. They are contest of champions.
Mhm. Bulk.
One game from pool 4 or 5, randomly decided on the day, and then assassination. So I presume he would go his Gundabad or captain for that. But you've got the bats to knock down your target.
You don't get to choose who your opponent is trying to assassinate. So your
so opponent.
but you've either got an orc captain who's defense 7, or you've got mercenary captains who can just not
Appear
appear.
anytime.
Yeah.
But I don't think you do
So-
that if you don't know who their target is, right? That's really
So
risky
you
to
so
keep
you,
the
choo-
captain
you
off the
choose
board.
you choose your assassin.
Yeah, so the Gundabad Orc captain isn't actually. I'm assuming you would choose him as your assassin.
I
Oh wait,
would-
does he have to kill?
Yeah,
The-
so
he ha-
to be
I haven't
fair,
played
actually,
Assassination.
with the way it works is I played it for the first time the other day. Is you can ignore your assassin doing the kill as long as
Yeah.
you can protect your heroes.
Just-
Like Bowl could just go up and kill
hero.
the target,
Yeah.
and you'll still get 5 VPs for it. And
Yeah.
then if you
You just do
break
that
as
max.
well, or kill the enemy general, then you're fine. So I imagine that's what you did.
What is the target? A hero that's not the general.
Yeah. It's also going to be really hard to protect heroes when he's got 6 bats,
Yeah,
and they can do the pluck things.
7
They can just
bats.
knock
Se-
them
seven
prone.
seven bats on day 2.
I think they're probably the thing that actually makes the list work.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think this army list is better. He can basically stop himself from being broken if he wants to with the goblin mercenaries by not like coming on anywhere near the opponent for ages.
Yeah.
And then just smashy.
And the thing I think people forget with Goblin Mercenary is they have a captain, so suddenly you have 2 might from absolutely nowhere.
Yep. With March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're suddenly like, cool, bang, gone.
Can someone
Yeah.
remind me what the 4 and 5 pools are again? I think 5 is the manoeuvring scenario. So
yeah,
again,
from
you've got
memory.
a big mobility
yeah.
advantage. What's number 4?
Oh, and the,
4 is
happened.
4 is kill the enemy, so this is Lord's contest to the death.
Which you'll be fine with.
Yeah.
Well, they won't have contest because that was already game 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's
okay.
either Lords or to the. I'd be slightly worried if it was Lords because you got so much low defense.
Yeah.
But you've
stuff.
also
You
got
got a lot of killing.
yeah. Like, because remember, you can keep the Goblin Mercenaries out of the way if you need to, and then just go smashy with everyone else.
Yeah.
You just gotta make sure that you don't get.
And then the Mercenaries can
overwhelmed.
then appear at the end when those guys start to wilt, but they've already done the damage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The thing that I find
Yeah.
quite not peculiar but interesting is he barely has any spears in each list.
With the 2 attacks, you don't need them massively.
No, I know, but I
And
thought
the
I
Mercenaries
thought
get
you
to
might
support
have-
each other, don't they?
Yeah, I thought you
Yeah.
might have a couple in there.
Oh, he's got
He's got one
in
on
the
the
first
back,
one.
hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 5 in the first one and 1 on the second one.
Yeah.
And the one on both is a banner as well. So
I imagine the main idea is the Gundabad Bats knock some people down, and
stop them
then
getting spears.
the
Yeah.
Gundabad Berserkers charge in.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you lose combat because you can't make strikes, and then you do double strikes and kill who's on the floor with your 2
Yeah.
attacks.
Yeah, pretty much.
If the bats are taking away your opponent's spears, your berserkers can just mince the front row.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Berserkers have got piercing strike, don't they?
They can do, yeah.
Yeah, so basically they can go strength 5, 2 attacks, fight 4 on a guy on the floor.
Can you pluck the same model multiple times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could
So if you
fly
don't
over a
knock it
banner.
over,
Yeah, no,
Hopefully
so
you don't kill the banner because
so
it
one of
steps on the floor
the
and they just continuously pluck it.
theorized tactics, it was actually before the Gundabad Bat models I think came out, like when Kurdan used to be a pain in the arse, was you go for like 4 bats and you literally just fly over and pluck
keep
him to
plucking him.
death.
Yeah.
But if you knock the banner, if you actually kill the banner bearer, he can pass it to the next guy. If you
Only the
just
first
knock
time.
him over,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the banner doesn't count for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which is
Oh yeah,
which
you
is
still
huge.
pass it even if they're on the floor, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're not
Yeah.
prone,
Yeah,
but
I'm
not
just-
dead,
I'm
then-
just-
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just talking knock him down because banners don't work if the model is
Yeah.
prone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
It's a thing that
Cool.
I've started doing quite a lot when I've been using bash and stuff, is just knock banners to the floor instead of go for the kill because
Yeah.
it's better. Oh, actually, I did loads of bashes against Sean Lang, which really paid off because his knights would charge in, and it's like, okay, I'm going to bash with the Grim Hammer, quite likely to, and then now you've lost your horse, take a strength 3 hit, and my other guy gets to do 2 strength 3 hits.
yeah, if I've got spare points in an army list now, I almost always. Sometimes you want axes. Most of the time, no, I'm going to
fi-
knock things over.
Yeah, I find like a 50-50 between the 2 if you had the choice is pretty good. But that's why I love Grim Hammers because they can do both anyway.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I've also
Just-
just noticed the Gundabad Orc captain is strength 5,
Yeah.
along with the fight force. So he's not a bad assassin either.
No.
No, he's just a
Yeah,
bit
you can get
slow and getting around and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I say slow, he's faster than Dwarf, so
And Goblin Mercenary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. Yeah, the mercenaries have moved 5, and the 2 orcs, the captain and the banner, will be moved 6. So that's maybe a slight issue when the rest
Yeah,
of you are
yeah.
going 8.
there's no Maelstrom scenario though, is there?
No.
Either. So yeah, like the Gundabad captain leading 4 bats doesn't really matter.
Fly, my pretties, fly.
I'm pretty sure the captain will be there just to make the berserkers in bold move first. I don't expect him to do anything more than that.
I
So-
basically think Will's actually looked at the tournament pack and built smart. I
Yeah.
don't think this list would do well. Well, it probably wouldn't do awful, but I don't think it would perform the same if he just went to a standard random event.
Like a blue on blue.
Yeah, or even just any event where it's just the 6 random match play scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, it could. It could fall down in some. I think it all depends on what army it comes up against, to be honest.
But shooting list would probably ruin its day a little bit.
The fact that it's 800 points, he's very unlikely to come against a massive Rangers of Athelian list.
Yeah.
Oh, I just mean like Corsair. But actually, he's not facing
right.
evil.
Yeah, he's
So,
not facing evil, so Harad. Well, the only thing is maybe a Rivendell list, but I don't know
Even
if
then,
you
like,
played Jasmine.
people are really scared of elf bows, but you never really see elf bow spam as much anymore.
Saying that, I don't know whether you're not likely to, but David Farmer messaged me a 450 point list
It's like 800 points.
today, which was something like 15 Galadriel, 5 for bows, 5 for shields, 5 for... Then he had Legolas, Haldir, and Boromir of Gondor.
Oh God.
It's like, so say generally 18 models, but he's got 10 shots, 5 of them have might. And I can't work out how good the list is.
Is that Boromir on horse?
Yeah, and Legolas is on horse as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty grim.
Because would it outshoot Howard Gunline? Because the Howard Gunline's got about 16 bows at that point if you're going Betrayal and Celadan.
It's a bit more than that, isn't it?
Not at 450.
Is it about 16, is it?
Yeah, I think it's 18 tops, I think.
I was thinking 18.
Wound, you both thing on the same.
Yeah, I think the gun line wins that one.
Unless like it's
remember
you've
got
the Harrod needs 6s to wound.
Yeah, because of defense 5.
But with the poison, it's 31%,
it's
which is more or less a 5.
Okay,
and then the elves hit on 3s, but need 5s to wound, just basic. But then they've got 6 might behind 5 of their shots as well.
So they have 450 points. I think the elves win because you would use the might to kill at that point with the bows.
How many are in the Harad list at 450 points?
So you'll get about 36. So let's just say 18 bows.
Yeah, you're still outnumbering 2 to 1.
Yeah, I think you could. I think it depends on when the elves die, because they can't take the losses.
Yeah. I think the first thing, if I was the Harrod player, the first thing I'd do is I shoot Boromir of Gondor.
Yeah. No fate, take the horse away at least.
Yeah. He is dying before combat. There's no two ways about that. And then you just throw your numbers in, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I think so. Have you got Celadan with your 6-inch banner?
Yeah, you will do.
That's all going to help.
Just assuming that, See, I think it beats it in combat more than it beats it in shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the Betrayer who can turn Boromir off like a switch. Yeah. So
my head just went to the bad place.
I think, to be fair, I think the Harrod Gunline could probably kill Legolas as well.
Yeah. If he's not got armor, he's only defense 4.
I think he does have armor. I don't know exactly. Anyway, that was me just going off topic a little bit, just because we were talking about gunline lists.
That's really interesting. So we'll go back to our lovely 4 faces in bigger mode.
Potential topic for a stream at some point. Which
go on then.
Tournament structure. So I just got to think about like using groups if there's set scenarios, things like that. Like we could probably talk for an entire stream just about the pros and cons of different things.
Yeah. So I virtually exclusively do sort of local friendly events. I barely touch GBHL anymore, so I see a lot of really weird formats of events, and it makes it so much more interesting.
The weird thing is actually like GBHL, unless it's a GBHL 100, like doesn't stop weird formats at all. It's like you could do like whatever you wanted for a GBHL 80. You could say every 5 points has to be spent on like a Fatty Bulger or something like that.
It's like what I think when the new edition came out, one of my first events was Screw the Allies chart.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I remember that was funny.
What's everyone
was impressed.
As in no allies, or you can ally whatever the hell you want?
Yeah, I just removed the allies chart.
See, I've always been tempted to do like...
So you could just, there was no, like, you couldn't get army bonuses. So army bonuses were out the window, but you could ally with whoever you wanted. So basically a throwback to
yellows, everybody yellows. See, fair enough.
I've always been tempted to do a doubles event where it has to be a good army allied to an evil army.
I would love that.
Just to see what disgusting combos people came up with.
Please do it.
Right, come on then, quickly. What is the most disgusting ally?
Hilarious one would be Hobbits in Goblin Town.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
The shooting of hobbits behind the numbers of both.
The shooting with
like shame Goblin Town can't support Hobbit. I think you'll be better off with Moria rather than Goblin Town.
True. Get those drums on the go as well for the banners.
To be fair, elves with like any evil horde is pretty horrible.
Yeah, getting some fight 5 or 6 in behind a lot of strength 4 nastiness.
Oh,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say basically
Fra-
the Helminger's elf thing. but
Frandril or like anyone with Awe Dismay, like Raddy with evil and a ring wraith.
Oh god.
yeah,
Yeah, that's grim.
get some very disgusting stuff.
I'm trying to think.
Smaug with Lady of Light. Go, you're ignoring all magic as well
Go-
now.
Go crazy with Azog and Alessar.
Oh, Necromancer with like any big good heroes because
Make them invisible.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, that's grim.
You have a ring and you have a ring and you have a ring.
We'll just say it's like back in the early days where he was handing out rings to like all the
Yeah.
people.
Pull off and down with a necromancer.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Mm.
Right, come on then, team. Let's do another top
I
5.
know, I've got the best one quickly. Saruman with Saruman.
Oh god.
I don't think you could. I'd assume you couldn't do that because you can't do Gandalf.
No, like,
the
let's
White
face it,
kind of
we're messing up all the rules.
All the
so-
rules are out. Yeah.
Also,
Okay, Isengard with Rohan. You take Saruman, Grima, Theoden. You ruin your own Theoden.
I think you've killed CJ.
I was going to CJ love that one.
Right.
So brilliant and so dumb. Right. Okay.
So here we are. We have.
They're going to be like top 5 stupidest ideas for like tournaments.
So here we go.
I want the hobbits. That's
We are spinning. We are spinning. We are spinning. Sorry if this is really loud.
Sounds like the ice cream van's just arrived.
Factions to hard counter ranges of a billion. If
Are we saying below 700 points?
it's
yeah.
probably some points.
Essentially,
I mean, it doesn't really
whatever.
matter, but it's sort of
Yeah.
that's where ranges are best.
So, 5 minutes. Let's go. Oh, this is nasty.
See, I've got 2 which are very dependent on scenario.
Have we done something similar to this?
we
Oh, it was
did-
the anti-wraiths one.
It was
yeah.
anti-Black Riders, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking a lot of these answers feel familiar.
So factions is pure, isn't it? That's what we decided.
Yeah.
Pure or legions, right?
Pure legions, correct.
Basically, Lady of Light doesn't get to drop into everything, and you just go, that
Pretty
is
much.
anti-rangers.
Pretty much.
Cool, got my 5.
I was going to say, I'm nearly there.
I spent a lot of time trying to come up with potential anti-ranger lists.
I got 2. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the chat with some ideas.
I was going to say, if you've got ideas in the chat, throw them in.
Like, just to the whole community, we need them.
Yeah, we need answers.
I'm not sure about this one, but potentially. I don't have I've definitely not played enough of this edition to have anything that's solid against these. These are all just like.
Don't worry,
on
no
paper,
one
this is
has, even when they have
No,
played.
Yeah.
Although imagine if Gethin just comes up with the cure.
Yeah.
Oh, main gas guys.
Can
They
I
can go
put-
strength 4 and defense 5.
Yeah. Can I put down Ali's ban rules or Ali's rules?
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
God. You got
Helmingers.
3 minutes
I
left.
don't think Helmingers would be able to do
I
it.
kind of want to put one choice down twice because you could do it in 2 different ways for a faction, but
I'd say go for it.
oh no, I've already got enough. So
Sounds
Yeah, I'm up to 10. I've now got to pick my favourites.
good. 10. Oh my god.
Maybe I put too much thought into this.
I've got 5. Once again, don't think any of them are super great. That's probably the worst.
Trying to think of other legions. And yeah, I'm not playing Ranger of Thillian just out of principle.
Yeah, I did for 1 or 2 events, and I just, no, this is horrible.
I kind
This
of want to
is
put canned
winning
chariots,
easy.
but I don't know if you can get there.
If you get the
No,
lucky shot off, they're going.
They can do a heroic
Yeah.
accuracy as well, so it doesn't even have to be that lucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Accuracy doesn't affect the horse or rider roll though, because it's
I
random.
thought
No,
I thought
I
it
think it does this. Edition.
it does, but you
does,
can't
but you
re-roll
only-
it to the mount. You
yeah,
can
you have to hit the
only re-roll
rider.
it to,
So
yeah.
Okay.
So you
which is
can't
the thing you don't
re-roll
want it to do.
Yeah, you can't re-roll riders down to horses, but you can re-roll horses up to riders.
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that distinction. That's
It was
that's really good.
an FAQ, I think.
Okay.
I think it was, yeah.
There's so
But
much
yeah-
of this hobby
but
where
yeah-
it's like, oh, it's covered in the FAQ. I'll take your word.
Oh,
for
God,
it.
yeah.
I really
Whereas
dislike the
Black
FAQ
Dart
stuff.
now you can specify.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a bit.
I was saying this the other day when we talked about the allies having to have valor if you're not green. Just like I really
Yeah.
dislike that kind of thing in an FAQ. Just because like if someone picks up the book and wants to play
Yeah, no.
and then turns it to a game, it's just like, oh, you can't do that or that. It's
I
like,
agree. It's now getting to the point where there's enough significant FAQs that aren't just clarifications that
Yeah.
I'm there going, they probably do need to come up with just a reprint, like
That's
or a new edition.
The issue is
just
they probably can't get that
Yeah.
green lighted by
No.
GW is the issue.
Yeah, it costs so much. I actually print them off and try and put them roughly where they should go in the book, but some players look at me like, you heathen.
Yeah.
You
To be
defiled
honest,
the book.
It was
You
Matt,
say
Matt,
they can't-
Matt Davis printed off like a whole sticker thing and just stuck them over
Yeah.
everything.
to be fair, you say you can't. Like
It'd be good if you could
they're
change digital
producing
version.
like a half the size book like once a year, twice a year, sort of these days. Like, and the main rule book you can guarantee will sell. Like,
But it's the
Yeah.
thing of they have to get everything verified by Warner Brothers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
would they rather get a new expansion or?
oh
a
yeah,
new
but I
rulebook
mean,
with a couple
we're
of
now
changes,
what
so,
3 years out from the new edition.
yeah,
4?
it's 3 or 4.
3? 4?
3 or 4. Basically, we're getting to the point where I think next year it's there going. It's been 4 years.
I think
It's-
when I went to ETC was the last
we've got
year
8 seconds
of-
left, by the
of
way.
edition.
yeah.
When was ETC? We
What
went
were we
to
doing?
2018?
There's no ETC
And
this
that's time.
year
That's time.
or last year.
Sorry if that was very loud.
And 4 years ago was the ETC that.
Because actually, the other thing that they could have done is they could have just put it in the match play guide, the ally rule, and go if you're doing a
Oh,
match
yeah.
play event, like there's this, and that's like just a flimsy sort of.
But then I
booklet.
wonder if, once again, because it's a GW product, that the match play guide probably written a couple of months
Oh
before.
yeah, no,
GW
I
had
mean,
that idea.
you can tell that
Yeah.
they're writing it as they go. I just mean like as in there's an opportunity.
In an
sort
ideal
of,
world.
like they could have updated it in that or something like that
Yeah.
to
There
sort
was
of being
an-
confusing.
There was
'Cause
an
the worst-
opportunity to fix the bloody heirloom scenario, and they didn't
Yeah.
take it.
The
That-
worst one was actually is the Shadowfax one because like the FAQ doesn't say what we're now meant to play. That was someone asking on the GVHL Facebook page, going,
Yeah.
"Does it work like this now?" And then Jay commenting, going, "Yes, that's how it works," or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's like if I'm introducing someone in a game or playing them, and I'm going, so.
Yeah.
Basically, because the rules writer, who you don't know who it is, commented on this Facebook page you're not a member of, said that this is how it
Yeah.
works, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, sure,
Yeah, that's why, like, as much as I like Jay, when he makes rules like that, I don't go by that. I still clarify with my opponent.
yeah.
It's
Well,
just
that's
like,
what a
you
lot of the
can't-
Americans have said. And the international players, because they're just like, we can't argue this if.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing for him to do to provide a low level of immediate clarification, as long as it is then in the next
Yeah.
FAQ immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it doesn't come up in the is it September or August?
August.
August and February.
August and
Like, if
February.
it comes up in August, he kind of can get away with it this time because of where we haven't been able to have
Yeah.
competitive events, as it were.
You think in February, to be fair, they did quite well getting an FAQ out when there's been one event across quite a few countries. So, yeah, I can
Yeah,
see
it's just
why.
Australia making complaints about the rules.
New
Yeah.
Zealand, yeah.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
aren't they vaguely in lockdown again now?
Some of it.
some
Some
Australia,
areas is hard.
Some
than
places,
others.
yeah.
Anyway,
Gethin also missed the February, was it 2020, when they brought out the Green Allies
God.
thing, and it was
Yeah.
what was it originally that really annoyed people?
It was
It had to be Valor.
Haldir and Aragorn was the one.
well, Green allies could only be allied if you had a hero of valor as well.
That was it, yeah.
I think I remember this.
So Haldir wasn't a
I
hero
think
of
I
valor.
remember getting messages from Josh just like, look at this post.
It
Because there's a giant thread.
it basically meant, actually, I think the simplest term was like, I couldn't have Gundor and Rohan allied without a named hero in both.
Mhm.
So you couldn't just say like it's a captain of Gundor who's gone to like help
Yeah.
Rohan or something like that.
See, the having a hero of valor, I think, is good, but it did mean they had to tweak loads of heroes. So Haldir changed, all the kings changed. So all the kings are now valor.
Well, how did it only changed after they then changed it that it only applied to yellow alliances? At which point I was like, why did you need to do it with Haldir then?
Because
Yeah.
Clubley was the one who brought it up, because he wanted to take a Deeping Wall list, which is Aragorn and Haldir and elves, and he couldn't take it.
But they were literally about to release, or just had.
Do they green
Yeah,
allies,
but
aren't they?
he didn't want to take Theoden or any Rohan. He just wanted it to be the Deeping Wall from the film.
Are they
So-
not green allies?
No.
Yeah.
Not with
no.
Fellowship is with Lothlorien, but not with Rohan. So yeah, somehow.
See,
that
I
was-
would more question why is Fellowship not?
No. Fellowship and Lothlorien were green, and it was just something like, because Haldir wasn't a Valor, he couldn't ally them.
Yeah, but then they changed it so that Fortitude was good enough for green, so he didn't actually need to make Haldir a Valor.
Which is what
anyway.
But I think it makes sense.
Oh yeah, like, I don't actually. I mean, I don't really care like about that specific one. I just say, I feel like you've solved a problem twice in the same epic.
Just to make sure.
So right, we are going to our top 5 factions to counter Rangers of Ithilien.
Don't expect much from mine.
So how do we want to do this? Does one person want to rattle through all of theirs?
I liked how we did last time.
Cool.
Yeah, me too.
Right, we'll start with Gethin then.
Doggle Wraiths.
Yes, exactly the same fifth. Yeah.
I was just thinking, because you could just teleport towards them and keep coming back.
If they shoot you, you just die and move 6 inches closer.
Is that your number 5 as well?
Yeah.
I had that on my list and I did cross it out.
I don't. I generally forgot about it, but I could put it on the list, but I'm not.
Cheat.
No.
I know. I'm just more thinking who I would knock off. Yeah. I'm just more thinking who I would knock off.
So, your number 5, Ali.
My number 5, I've got Iron Hills.
That is exactly my number 5.
Yeah.
Well.
Basically, DA. I know you're slow, but you're losing like 1.5 guys max a turn, I think.
And you think if we said we're going up to like 700, you put a ballista in?
I was going to say ballista, yeah.
And the other reason why I pick Iron Hills over like Erebor for once is because you've got more March in the list, and Master of Battle can mess them up.
Defense 8 and a ballista.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't count the ballista, so.
That's fallen really from grace, even within this edition, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's because that's another one that got. I don't actually mind the points increase in the thing so much, but that went up to 125 when they realised they'd forgotten to change the points.
Yeah.
Calman.
Yeah, damn it, Cal. I forgot dwarves exist for the purposes of this exercise. Sorry, Ali.
To be fair, it's actually the only dwarf list I've got on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will go with my number 4, and that's Corsairs.
Considered it, decided not.
The amount of models, at like 700-800, the amount of models you get means you have a lot of arbalesters, and then you've got captains for March, and you just get in their face, and you're like, cool, throwing weapons.
See, I generally, because I'm generally thinking below 700 points, like who has a chance.
I was thinking like bang on 700.
And Corsairs die really easy to the Rangers is the main issue.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a good first turn with ballistas, with arbalesters,
yeah,
like you could possibly take too much damage too soon.
Possibly.
But then you're hitting 50%, and then you're wounding 50% because it's strength 4 crossbows, whereas they're
Yeah.
only wounding on 6s.
But if you're a smart ranger player, you sit 24.5 inches out and just essentially go, you're either moving into my shot range with your crossbows, at which case I get to shoot you for free, or like you're just having to stay 24 inches away, which isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Because model count wise, you'll probably be similar, and you'll both fight for, you both kit. Depending on how the Corsairs are armed, you'll kill each other roughly on the same sort of.
Yeah.
But every time you win priority or the move off, you're throwing daggers in all of their faces, killing on.
Yeah, I just don't think you have. If you would have enough necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bad. I think they're better than most shots, but it's still one of those ones where it's just like, yeah.
So, Alistair, your number 4, please.
I've got Goblin Town.
Ooh.
Did anyone else have Goblin Town?
I read down
but I've got
Goblin
Moria.
Merc Horde. And then
So I put so you can do them. One, you've got crap ton of models.
Yeah.
And two, you can do the Goblin Mercenaries, so you can pop out on board edges and terrain and all of that other stuff.
Scribe as well.
And stuff like that, and swamp them basically. So you can negate a couple of turns of shooting and just outflank them pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's the only army where you can just take the number of casualties that they dish out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can reduce the amount of turns that they do have to dish them out. So, Goblin Town at number 4 for me.
Do Athelion have cloaks? Seven cloaks?
Within 6 of Mablung.
They can do with one of those.
And that's another bonus of mercenaries then. Because if they're hiding in cover, mercenaries just jump on them.
Yeah.
And you don't care if the mercenaries die because they're tying them up for the rest of the army together.
Yeah,
You can't deploy within an inch of enemy models. So if your opponent is in a piece of woodland terrain, you pretty much can't use it for deployment.
I guess, yeah.
So
it depends how many models are in your warband. That's another interesting kind of discussion that you can have, is how many Goblin Mercenaries do you take in the warband?
Will had 6 and a warband of 12.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I think I did, when I took them in my Hunter Orc Alliance list, I did 6 plus Captain. Because 7 gives you I found it was the sweet spot.
I think it's sort of between 4 and 8, depending on points. Is usually
they say you don't want 12 because good luck trying to find a terrain piece that's 13 models.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's part of Goblin Town, I will have 1 which is Captain and 5 or 6 to drop in strategic locations for terrain. And then the other one will be Captain with 18, because if there is a big terrain piece on the board, you can just immediately airdrop as many models as your opponent does, or you just deploy them normally with a front screen. If your opponent's got lots of strength 3 shooting or just strength 3
they
strikes,
can come on a board edge as well, can't they?
Yeah.
I think it's only if there's no available terrain piece.
But if you've got 18 models,
there's not very often. No.
Yeah, so you could then just use it to come on behind your enemy.
Yeah. So it works in a number of ways.
To the book.
Except for in Recon.
You can still come on terrain.
Yeah, so Recon
but you can't
forces your opponent to stay back,
Yeah,
because otherwise you're just going to drop behind them and run off. And that's why you go like 6 or 7, because then you get something that's very difficult for them when it's double or treble.
Yeah.
So, Dewi looks it up. Geffen, John, do your number 4. Taking control.
My number 4 was a Gondor Horde. Just
D7.
Complete massive. D7, 3 mites all over the place in March.
It is one I generally thought about when I put the Iron Hills down, just going because you can get so many models as well.
What was that, sorry?
Gondor Horde.
Oh, nice. I didn't even think of that.
So you can throw in a big hero if you want.
Yeah.
But you just get so many. You just go all the 3 mate captains. You got a bunch of march in there from quite a few of them, even some captains from more march, and just defense 7 across the board.
Yeah.
Run them.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so Goblin Mercenaries, it's only a board edge if there is no applicable terrain. But if you've got 18 models, then fair enough.
Yeah.
You crack on.
19 with the captain.
Yeah, you crack on.
So my number 4 was Assault on Helm's Deep.
Oh, I didn't even think of that one.
See, I've talked about this one before with people, and I don't know.
Well, again, they're wounding you on 6s, you're wounding them on 4s, but also you're raining down very accurate ballistas on their heroes.
See, I just don't rate ballistas still, even like I think they're alright.
Like
But
it's that whole thing. Like with pretty much any shooting, it's the threat. It's a threat of what they can do rather than what they do.
yeah, and I think I'm just there going, I know what they do. Which just
I was gonna say, I was waiting for us to snake it.
yeah, and so I'm just like there going like I don't see the major threat in them.
Yeah.
But then I'm also someone who like doesn't value their heroes particularly much, so
Yeah.
because they're always letting me down. So
Yeah, Faramir is gonna one-shot die to a bomb.
you just hide
the
Faramir
majority
behind a
of the
wall
shot.
if you need to.
Yeah, I guess,
like
but
that.
then at least you're not using him.
Yeah.
And the
He's
thing,
your only killy combo.
the bomb is the thing is you can take out enough guys like before. It's one of those ones where I'd have to actually see an action. But I
Yeah.
kind of get why, but I also just
Yeah.
don't.
Nice. Cool. CJ, you're number 3 then. We'll carry on with you and we'll work backwards again.
I got the Harad gun line. And as long as it's the betrayer with as many bows as humanly possible, I think you just about tip the favour.
Yeah.
What
So
did you say?
that is also my number 3. So yeah.
How many bows would you get just saying 700 points because that's what you get in raffle?
Probably like 45 to 50.
So you get 40. Let's just say 40 ranger bows. How many?
Well, you think in the 700-point list I played with you with the Farharad Harad Alliance, I had 14 bows and I had 42 models, I think it was. So you swap those out, that's another 7 bows or something.
So you're getting about 24.
24
Say
bows,
your
probably.
heroes have bows. You're hitting on less, but then you're wounding with rerolls.
Yeah. You're wounding 55% of every.
I think that literally is a heroic shoot-off, isn't it?
Probably.
But you think you'd put guys in front so you'd have the Rangers would have it in the way.
Yeah, but they call it heroic accuracy.
No, yeah. But
at least then they're spending might.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I just mean like I think it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you're saying you'd put my Hood Warriors in front with the Defense 5 and the blowpipes, and then that makes it.
Oh no, I was just saying that's.
I think actually you have
That's
to
the
get
list.
pure Harad in that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think.
Oh, of course we're doing pure. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, just to get the bow count if you're playing that way anyway.
Yeah, no, it was just giving Ali an idea of numbers and bows, etc. Gethin, you're number 3, please.
Iron Hills.
Iron Hills. Nice. And Ali start?
So what about it? I'm going Misty Mountains.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Is that Eagles, yeah?
Yeah.
/ Valley's Alliance, depending. But I think Misty Mountains is probably a bit stronger just because Valley can get squished a bit.
I think Misty Mountains is stronger than Raddy's Alliance, to be honest.
Yeah. Your Flying Eagles, your Defense 8, 3 wounds. They're going to get. You can hide behind terrain with that amount of movement to get in the ways, and then you'll be on combat turn 3 latest.
You'll probably have to deal with 1 round of bow fire.
I'd say 2,
smart.
but
Probably
you
2.
should have in the ways.
Yeah.
And Defense 8.
And when you get to combat, you also cause terror, which I mean, they're courage 3 his guys, but it's enough to stop a few.
Yeah.
And he's only got 1 strike on the list.
Yeah.
Well, Sam and Faramir.
Depends if you take Sam. Yeah.
And then Frodo can halve your fight value. So I actually did beat Misty Mountains with Rangers of Vithilion at Lords of Battle, just because.
Yeah.
I
People are actually missing out is if you are going to beat them, you'd normally pretty much wipe them out.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of model count, aren't you?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Ali, you're number 2.
Oh, have you done your number 3?
Yeah, mine was hard.
Oh yeah. So my number 2 is Mordor. Because you can't have enough
Shadow
doors.
Brackets just.
So
Shadow
not
Lord.
just Shadow Lord, but because you've got access to the War Drum as well, and lots of March heroes.
So here's something that just came to my mind, and it's because I turned around. The Shadow Lord was Great Beast of Gorgoroth.
Ooh, nasty.
Are you planning on out shooting him, or are you planning on?
I'm running at him, shooting him, and then squishing him.
If you can get the heroic accuracy onto the guys on top, I guess.
How many would you get?
So if you just did Beast and the Shadow Lord, So
Oh, multiple beasts. Okay.
so Shadow Lord is what would you do? Fell Beast?
Horse.
You probably do Fell Beast just to
Probably
keep up,
Fell
don't you?
Beast, yeah.
So 170.
170, and the beasts are 125 each. So you
Uh-huh.
get like 4.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
get
it'd be
4.
hilarious.
It would be amazing because you're not
Yeah.
going to kill 4 beasts before combat. They're 5.
No.
They're 5
No.
wounds each.
Unless if you manage to drive them into each other.
Yeah, 5
So you
wounds,
can
defense
kill-
7. But
what strength is his impact hits?
6.
2 strength 6.
So yeah, you're going to lawnmower rangers.
You'd
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, massively.
This way you have to kill 2 plus a few crew to break, which is going to be hard for the Shadow Lord and
Yeah.
the Howder.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I love that list. I love that list so much.
How many more
It'd
do you
be
need?
great fun.
I have 2 built and painted.
2 more on the production line.
They're so
I
good.
think Frederick and Chad is a fan of Mortal Catapults. Says Army of Gothmog with double Mortal Catapult or Shadow Lord double
Yeah,
Great Beast double
can we
Catapult.
ignore
Army
that?
of
Can we
Gothmog.
not ignore that comment until later? Because
Is that your number 1?
So
Army of Gothmog.
my number 2 is Army of Gothmog.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hatred, defense 6, war drum. Boom.
And the
I hadn't
catapult.
even thought about
The
that.
catapult's
Okay.
the massive one.
catapults. Yeah.
So I remember Matt like playing Into the West, and he came up against the Gothmog Legion. I don't even think it was anyone higher.
I thought it
in
was
the
Sean.
tournament. I don't think it was Sean.
Was it not?
I don't think so.
I know Sean used Gothmog's Legion at that
Yeah.
event because I
Yeah.
arranged his event in the final game again. But
But Matt like said after the game, he was like, "Jesus Christ." Army of Gothmog gets into Rangers, they die and they die.
wounding on freeze.
Wounding
Like,
point,
and
yeah.
first turn you do it, you can reroll wounds as
yeah.
well.
It's like,
That's
okay,
every combat someone's dead.
yeah, here is a
Oh.
lot of dead Rangers.
I hadn't thought about that at all.
And
It
then
And then catapult,
As-
and then catapult.
yeah, catapults you can stay out range, out of sight, and then just bomb them like
Yeah.
and make them run away.
Yeah.
Just take the flaming ones or whatever.
It's also one of the best lists, which still is actually alright against other army lists. It's not necessarily the strongest,
Yeah.
but
Mm.
you wouldn't be shooting yourself in the foot by taking that to a tournament in other
No.
matchups.
Yeah, you do get the +1, but the rerolls to wounds still pretty
Yeah.
strong.
I've only just
Yeah.
seen Frederick's last comment. Shadow Lord, double Great Beast, double catapult.
Yeah.
There's
Not
another idea.
legal?
You need.
Oh, no.
beasts
No,
are
it's
fortitude,
hero,
aren't
It
they?
is legal because the beasts are heroes.
Beast of commanders.
Oh, that's amazing. I can
mean-
actually do that list.
That would
Genuinely
flatten
can do that.
Rangers.
Genuinely can do that list.
But would it work against any other opponent?
Yes.
Just it's more scenarios that would screw that one.
Yeah. But you think,
It,
your catapults, you go, cool, I need objectives. I'm going to sit 2 catapults, 1 on each objective. Come get them.
Mm.
There's a troll there.
and if
Yeah,
they
I always
leave
forget that they
anything
control.
on their objective, you just flatten them.
Yeah. Ah, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, I genuinely want to take that list.
Because there's nothing to scatter onto. If you've left 1 or 2 people
Yeah.
guarding an objective, they're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
That's really evil.
That's such a good list. Oh, funny. Right. Gethin, you're number 2, please.
So this is a technically situational one. Wars of Isengard.
Oh.
You
What
get
if
Maelstrom
Maelstrom-
first time charge.
That's
I mean-
only if you lose priority, though.
But you can choose
Yeah,
to
it's
lose priority with that legion.
yeah.
can't
Can
you?
you?
You can
Yeah,
with
so-
Wiltshire.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
On the
Um,
first turn, you can choose who gets priority.
and even in like a normal scenario, there's a chance.
Mm.
Even then, actually, to be honest, though, the problem is they're fight 4. You can just
Mhm.
deploy to you or put a banner in there. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, you're just constantly charging into this little bubble in the middle, and then if a rider dies but walk survives, you just go sit him on the objective.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or you send a couple and just jump off the wargs, pass some cross checks.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, you broke me. Okay, gonna keep charging you.
Yeah.
Oh, game ends, I win.
Because you've got a shaman as well to
Yeah.
basically mean that you keep going.
Yorkshire.
And they're almost the same cost, like Rangers to Warg Riders, like 9
It's
points to 11.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Your heroes are
terrifying.
cheaper as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've written like a 500-point list with like 36 models in Wolves of Isengard. It's just like,
Yeah.
My
Sadly,
oh my.
Sharky's only fight 4, so he gets the heroic combats, but it's not super. Like if you charge him into 1, you then win it and then go to the next one. Just kill
Although,
2 at 10.
if they hide in some forest, you and your cav are severely stuffed.
You stand there and throw throwing spears at them.
Well, that's where you dismount and just run in with the orcs, and the orcs go sit on the objective. Something. Yeah.
I never bother with throwing spears on Warg Riders. Do you think they're good?
Yeah.
No. I've played Warg Riders for years now.
For a point, I think they're Warg
Hitting on
Riders.
6 is shrunk to hit.
No,
I don't think
it's for when you charge.
Or 5.
Yeah.
It's for when you charge.
So-
That's the key thing. You can kill an extra
kill that can just
couple of
open
models
up.
a turn. Yeah.
I don't think you get your points back though.
Did you say strength 2? I thought throw spears were
It's
strength
straight
3.
through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because put it this way, for
Yeah,
a
so-
1 point a model, all you've got to do per 8 throwing spears you've got really is kill 1 enemy model with
Yeah.
them.
And you're
Which
going to
of
have
course a
enough
game,
numbers.
unless if your name's David Clubley or me, like that will happen
Gaffy.
usually.
Yeah.
They're also range 8, are they? So you can
Yeah.
be slightly out of charge range and just annoy people with them.
Yeah, you just skirmish
That's it.
because you're not going to skirmish the orc bows. I can tell you that much.
And you could also have a third with bow, and then everyone else has got throwing spear.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a range superiority for an all cav army.
Yeah.
So my
Your
number
number
2 was Moria. For similar reasons to the Goblin Town, you can spam goblins from here to Christmas, but these ones are defense 5,
Yeah.
so 6 is to kill. It's like I can soak up all of your bow fire, and then I'm going to outnumber you and murder you into pieces.
Yeah.
If you're spamming them from here to Christmas, does that mean with each passing day over the next few months it gets less effective against rangers?
Most people would figure out ways to do it. So yeah, we're going to stretch this metaphor like taffy. My first was Corsairs, which we've been over, and actually now you've persuaded me it should have been Gothmog's Legion, and Corsairs are not quite as good as I thought they might be.
They are good, and I think it is just whether that turn you get to shoot, you do a lot of damage.
So what's Geffin's number 1?
Around gun line.
Yeah, fair.
Is yours more? Mine's Army of Gothmog. But I did have a special mention, which I was going to say instead, but I've literally just gone and forgotten it.
Mine is Mordor, because Army of Gothmog it's basically Army of Gothmog with a bit more.
Yeah.
I just think it has a bit more to it that can help it against the list. So
How would Army of the Dead do?
I did have
really good.
I did
Yeah,
I did have Return of the King down as one of mine.
Thing is, they don't have the numbers, and then they don't have fight value in combat, so it's just it's a very
I feel like
slow
they-
death. But
Yeah, the moment you win the fight,
They'll kill every time they win a fight,
Yeah,
but
pretty
that's
much.
not going to be.
and then you got
very
Aragorn as
often.
well, just
Yeah.
slicing away.
So
Yeah.
but Aragorn will
Hello,
die.
Frodo.
If you were playing that list, you just go everyone going shoot Aragorn.
you
Shoot
don't
Aragorn.
mind how many in the way, so you just shoot out.
Yeah.
So
Cloak.
my honourable mentions were Dark Powers, Khazad-dûm and Army of Thrall, just for the high defense and the amount of models you can get.
Mhm.
So
My honourable mentions were Rivendell with Blinding Light, Defenders of Helm's Deep,
yeah,
extra range, and
yeah.
And I went to might really.
Yeah. I also did put Mordor Shadowlord and Sauron, who is defense 10 and laughs at your puny bow.
Yeah.
And then just terrain in massive caps lock across the page. There's not enough of it at tournaments, I find.
I think it's gotten a lot more terrain now.
Yeah.
The average, at least tournament I go to, has, I would say, about 30% more terrain now than it did 4 years ago.
What did you think our boards were like the other weekend?
I just genuinely I quite like them. They were normally what I call themed terrain, so it wasn't just you have the mandatory 2 ones.
I mean, kind of.
But it was generally closer to 50% of the board was terrain, which I liked.
It was.
Even though you wouldn't let me have a deep water river, even though it would have screwed me over more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that you need to with Lord of the Rings a lot more than other games, just because If there's not a lot of terrain, you just get shield on shield, which is the issue with Warhammer World.
Yeah.
Warhammer World, you get very little terrain.
It is ironic,
especially in the
actually,
center of the
Warhammer
board.
World.
Especially in the center of the board, I found a lot of boards have the center really open.
I think a lot of people do that because of the issues with things like hold ground. It can get really awkward of like, where is the objective and where do you measure from? And
you just move it slightly.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it
unless you're on a custom board of Steel Pro where there's a thing in the middle you can't move.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have anything like bang on the center because of seize the prize and all that kind of stuff. But I have something in and around the center if I can.
Yeah.
It just makes stuff like that more interesting.
Yeah. And I think actually the more terrain, usually the better players actually win more.
Yeah.
Because they know how to use it more. It's like the amount of times that I've actually played games against Will or stuff like that, and then people say like barriers never come up and all that. That's actually going to segue in a minute, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh god.
And like, but then we just both naturally just start using these tactics of defending barriers and stuff like that, and like you only get that when you actually have terrain rules, and it's like just good tactics. It's just knowing stuff.
Talking about terrain stuff, so I was playing Carmen the other week and we were talking about this. You know the Osgiliath ruins?
Yeah.
Do you allow models to go on the second level?
Because
I hate that because there is like there's no way to get up to there because there's no ladders.
Climb test.
And you can just but there's no ladder. That makes no sense.
No, a ladder you don't take a climb test.
Yeah, ladder you just go up. The climb test is that
if there's models, you just can't charge.
Yeah, no. So this actually came up in my game against friendly player last week. He's just getting into game, so he put his archers up there, and I was like, yeah, at an event I'd be a bit about it, but because he was just doing it and he was just shooting, I didn't mind. And then we did a second game, and I just made sure I deployed models with him, like up there, like because 50-50 split. But it's just there going. I do get what you mean.
It's just really annoying when someone does it because you know that
I don't.
When you try and charge, it's like, oh, this is going to be annoying. Like, I'm fine if there's ramps, ramps and proper ways to get up there. But I think it was Cal was talking about a situation that he had where the opponent literally couldn't win the game because he had his leader in the corner, then Dane and Feely. It's like he has to go through Feely. By killing Feely, 25% and Cameron wins.
So Clubly at one of Dewi's events, when Cobain had just come out, I think.
Yeah. It was on
had put an objective at the top of like a 6-inch pillar or something, and his opponent had no flying model, and then like he just went, "Cool, I'll fly up there. You can't get at me." Fun times. And then the only way that you can actually get there is if you climb up and then you fight as if you're defending a barrier because it's elevated position. If you lose, you then get knocked down and take like 4 strength 3 hits as well. It's actually not even if you lose, it's if you fail to kill your opponent, you get knocked back and knocked down.
I feel like objectives should just be on the floor.
My spiders disagree. My bats.
Oh god, and spiders being up to like there's a house, spider sits on the roof.
I remember when I ran my siege event, I specifically said spiders are treated exactly like siege ladders, so they can't go sideways and stuff like that. So they could only go up directly because I was like, these are going to be an issue. And then someone brought spiders and kept them trying to go sideways. And it's like, no, I like pre-saw this. It's in the book.
Yeah, no, I think stuff like that. Yeah, it's confusing.
I feel like it's just like one of those things, especially with like putting the archers up there.
It kind of makes sense and cool theme, but then it's also just a bit of a non-game move.
It's a no skill advantage.
Because actually,
you got the piece of terrain on your boards, you get the advantage.
So the scenario I played the other day, it was actually assassination, and like it put Legolas up there, and it's kind of like, and then fortunately I could put some of my guys in his huffers. They're going, realistically, I wouldn't be able to kill Legolas while he's up there because I can't get up there, and it's like, it's kind of like a non-scenario game.
Yeah, especially if you surround them because you can't even charge the guys that are there. Or it's like where if they're on the floor, at least you can get through the guys. Or if there's a ramp or something up there, you can fight your way up. It's annoying. But
if you're TOing these things, do you not just go over and say, "Stop being a dick"? You can't have a opponent can't win.
If someone like came and questioned it as a TO, I'd probably be like, I normally go, all objectives have to be achievable. like
Yeah.
within reason anyway.
Mhm.
But to be fair though, Oscidic Ruins, let's put it this way, they weren't designed particularly well for the games based on the fact that the cavalry races can't fit through the archways and the infantry models can't fit through the doorways.
Correct.
So,
You're also right that there's a lot of obscure rules buried in the back of the advanced movement section, like defending doorways, which if you know about and your opponent doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
And do you ever actually feel a bit bad when you do it to people who didn't know?
Yeah, there's some rules like that where it's just
Kinda.
I've done this on purpose because I know that I can defend this, but you had no idea. So you
But
just
what's the
blindly.
difference between that and playing, say, Hurin and Ingold when the opponent doesn't have Gondor at War and hasn't read it and hasn't spoken to anyone about it?
Well,
Because
normally
that's
if
the
I
thing
have
that
that
you explain at the start of the
at
game.
the beginning of the game, yeah, you go through this is what my heroes do and all this.
Whereas
stuff.
you can't really go through everything in the rulebook.
Yeah, there's a thin line between that and doing
Yeah.
gotcha, which is a real pisser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there going like I don't actually like begrudge people do it. I just always there going like I feel a bit awkward when I do it, and they generally have no idea like of the rule.
But
I think, actually, this is what happens.
Yeah, me and you have had this discussion before, Ali. Like, if you're playing a new player who doesn't necessarily know the rules, you will coach them through the game as much as possible, but you will still play to win.
Yeah,
like that's how I play. I will, if it's someone new, I will make sure I've won the game.
So I think that's
If
fair for
if
friendlies.
if I can.
Yeah,
if I
the issue
can.
is when you go to a tournament and
because I don't know if they're a
not
new player
super.
sometimes.
Yeah, so
Well-
you don't
well
know if they're a
then-
new player. And it's like you don't want to just
Well,
you don't want
then
to coach them through
I
the game
just-
because you want to win, really.
Yeah. No. I don't coach them so that they win.
Yeah.
But
It's when it sort of feels less like, I think in this example I know I'm on about, it's not me being tactically smart. Well, it no longer feels like that. It feels like me taking advantage of having better knowledge than they do.
But then
And so it takes away from my achievements slightly, as in personally.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
but
there's
then-
anything wrong with it,
No,
I just
no,
mean
no.
as in...
But then I've also been against top players, and I consider myself a relatively decent player, and I've missed something, and they've gone, no, this, and this, and you go, well, okay then.
Oh yeah, it's fine when it's people that like I know are good players or stuff like that. It's more when it's someone I haven't played before and you can see them physically, but like visibly.
They're just like,
and they feel like they're just being gamed,
yeah.
Which isn't what you want to do.
But if you're at a tournament, like from my point
This
of
is
view,
where it comes into the sense of like, is it badly? It's like CJ said, it's a very fine line.
Oh
which
yeah,
this
if it was
isn't.
100, if it's a 100-pointer, I have no qualms with using the rules that I.
But then
know
what
to win
if
the game.
you're playing against someone who is not local, but this is the closest event they can get to? So like if I do a 100-pointer in Chester, people in South Wales have nowhere to go to play normally. So someone from South Wales, North Wales, comes over and plays a game, and it's like plays against we'll throw Ali under the bus and be like plays against Ali, and Ali does
Team
that.
England do that all the time.
And it's just like that person once again, although it's a 100-pointer, that's the only event they can get to. They just want to come and play the game, but they got Ali first round, and
I had exactly that because nobody plays in my county. So the closest I get to is going about 40 miles north or going to GBHL events in the past. And there were definitely players in the top bracket who took advantage of that fact and kicked me around. So the thing you're saying about where you get a new player and you don't want to coach them to be able to beat you, I'm actually in the opposite camp where I think like I would actually tell them a really good way to beat me is because my rule is this, so you could try this, this, and this. So I give them all the tools, and then it's still
giving them
my
the
job
options
to beat
is
them.
different, I think.
but they
Is
know the options. You're talking about me. I don't know the options.
Is they going like, if they're going like, do you have any heroic actions? That guy may want to do a strike, or that guy may want to do a combat, and then you just go. But then that's also depends at what stage you are. Like,
I think strike is an easy one for new players to call. Heroic combats is a lot more difficult for new players to call, and they don't see it coming.
Yeah,
and they don't.
For me, it's they
it.
go and specifically remind them to call heroic actions.
See, the
as
issue with
in
that,
like rather than go straight into, because I do it as force of habit anyways. Like I go heroic actions at the beginning of any phase.
Yeah.
But I know some people don't, and then it's easy for like a new player to just start moving.
But I would
Yeah.
get really annoyed with myself and kind of the game in general if I was playing a new player and went, don't forget heroic strike. They won the heroic strike and killed said hero, which lost me VPs, which then lost me the game.
see, I've had vice versa, where it's just like, do you want to do any heroics? What heroics can I do? Well, you could heroic combat if you kill, you carry on, and then they fail the heroic combat and they just look like
then you feel bad.
It's
like,
just like the biggest betrayal. I didn't say to do it. I said you could.
Well,
See,
I actually have where they've
Uh-huh.
not left something guarded, and I've got a heroic line. I will then go, "Are you aware of of heroic combats?" And say, "No, you're talking through." I'll say, "So just be aware. Like
does
you've
that
got some
change anything?
supporting, you've got some supporting pieces there, and I've got a hero here who's only got one opponent. So it's quite likely I could do that if that changes how you want to move things."
Yeah.
See, is that crossing a line into condescending, or is that like,
That's
no, I'm
also
trying to let
fair,
you
I
play
guess,
your
yeah.
best game?
Because assuming they are a new player, I think it's fine. The one thing I'll say is like on Dewi's thing, going, I will assume they're gonna do that strike anyway, so I don't mind like reminding them about it. It's
So like we had this discussion. I had this discussion with you and who came to our event and was in your group. You played him as well, didn't you?
which one?
Ewan.
Oh, Ewan, yeah.
Yeah. So Ewan
I think
is
he's in the chat.
yeah. He was earlier. He won't mind me saying he's 16-year-old lad, just got into it. Loves to
Me
loves the
first game
game.
went, oh bollocks.
Yeah. So he's just got into it, and I was talking to him on because I drove him to and from the event because he's from Cheltenham, and we were saying you learn so much more from losing than you ever do from winning. Ever do from
Why I've
winning.
learnt barely anything.
It's why Ali learned a lot day two.
Yeah, don't go to fucking McDonald's.
Don't trust Sean.
Yeah.
So shouldn't Clubley be like the most knowledgeable
See, I was thinking of saying that. I was like, nah, that's a bit harsh.
But saying like
Hard.
you learn so much more, and so like I played Scott Whitefoot, who's played a lot back in Reading, and he had the Witch King and the Shade. I said, right, cool. Any heroics, and obviously the Shade's before heroics, and he didn't stop and say, I want to activate the Shade. And I was like, cool, heroic combat with Glorfindel, because he said no, and I was like, that's what I'm doing. So I ended up going to the Shade and killing it in a turn. I had enchanted blades and Glorfindel would kill that as well. And he was like, oh, and I was like, well, Scott's one of those people who I think not should know better, but has played long enough to know. And yeah, it's one of those.
But that's the difference, though. I think is if it's usually if it's someone you know, because you will learn. You'll learn more. Like you won't make that mistake again. He'll remember to do that.
Because I'm pretty sure he spoke to you because it was at Reading. He spoke to you a bit later on, or you played him already, and we're saying, "Oh, do you want to activate the Shade?" And it was like, well, if someone's reminded you already, and so
I because I do think that I also play the rule of I'll remind you once, and then that then
you've got
after
you've got your chance.
Yeah, it's like they're going. I've made you aware this is when you have to call the Shade, for example.
Yeah,
you should be fine going forward. But then it's also one of those things where it depends on how experienced they are. Like any of you guys, I would be a complete dick to because you should know that.
Yeah, exactly. But things like reminding people who've got banners around, reminding people what their profiles do, all that kind of thing. That's stuff I do. But calling heroics and whatnot, it's part of the tactics of the game. And you look, Alex Richardson rocked up to an event, knew his army inside out, had read the rules a lot and had played some friendly games, and he goes beats Callum and finishes fourth, I think it was overall. No, fifth overall.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's played you. He's played Callum day one.
He didn't play me.
Oh no, of course he didn't play you.
So otherwise he definitely wouldn't have finished one place above me.
Yeah. So he played Callum day one. He's then played Clubley, Sean Creed, and who else did he play?
Farmer.
And Dave Farmer. and he's finished 5th overall. Like, that's just you just don't know with people. So, and yeah, he forgot a few things, but he was still trying barges with a 12 chieftain. He was still trying this, that, and the other. And it was I think the thing that Alex could improve on, I think him and Clubby talked about it, was his time management and game management of moving models,
which is the
etc.
major thing new players don't really realise when you go to tournaments.
Yeah, there is a time limit. You don't play until the scenario says there is a time limit. So
here's a question actually, just on that, because me and David, when we do practice games, we put a time limit on. So say for like Dewi's event, we'd play 550 points, and we're do the 1 hour 45 time limit when we're playing our game. Obviously, TTS was a bit weird. We added on like an extra 20 minutes because it's a bit slower or something like that. But do you guys do that?
So my practice games are with Calman, and half of our games are talking. So no.
No, I mean that's a good practice game for Calman because that's how a normal game goes for him.
But yeah, I don't think we've ever really done timing stuff in like Chester. I think maybe me and Josh have done it a few times, but on the whole, because it's either like a lot of the Chester guys are casual, so I don't really do it. So practice games, I say, would probably be against Josh or Calman. And we talk a lot, so
yeah. See, the thing for me is like generally it kind of helps with just like I can go, I'll go play a game. We're gonna put a 2 hour time limit on it. I also know then I'll be done like by 9 o'clock or whatever as well. So it's got that benefit. But I was just more wondering if you guys had.
Well, I've never had a top player around to play.
Neither have I. I hope Farmer watches this.
Okay. So yeah, all of my practice was either against people in the East Anglia League or at friendly local events in places like the South Coast or London, and so I used to get some stick, and rightly so in retrospect, for bringing stuff I was planning to unleash on GBHL 100 events to those guys, because that's all the practice I'd ever get.
But I think that's perfectly valid, to be honest. Like, if you're not going to get practice at home or in a local club, and you've only got those to go for it. Like, to me, that's not a problem.
It's like loads of people do use GBHL 80 events to try out lists. So like Lair of Dragon at the end of the month is now a GBHL 80. So instead of using just the dwarf list, which I know kind of how to use, I'm there going, I may actually use Theatrids Guard or something like that because I can test it out before.
So for me and the guys around here, we if we're practicing for a tournament, we'll have a time limit on, or at least we'll note the time when we start, and we go right in the tournament. The game will have ended now. But if we were practicing for an actual tournament, we would put a time limit on it. And also we put time limits on if we know we want to get in a couple of games. So like you kind of instead of knowing when you're going to finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does work. It does work, and the time limit makes you think differently.
I also find it weird now playing games to a normal end, like natural conclusion, because my to be fair, this would be before lockdown because I've done a lot to natural conclusion now. But it's again like my whole tactics are usually like built around the idea that only half your games in some of the scenarios will actually go natural end. So it's like I'm always there going, it's there going like, because dwarfs especially, it's there going like I need to make sure I'm on these objectives, so I play in a certain way by when the game would naturally end, whereas I could probably afford to stand back and shoot or whatever if I wasn't playing that to a time.
So what I found really interesting at our tournament, I don't know if you did, Ali, like an hour 45 for 550 is a long time. It's a long time. And
Depends on how much people want to chat before.
And some people finished well within time and had like an hour to just mill around, go to the shop, whatever. Other people went bang up to time and threw it. Like, I know there was one game that finished like 10-15 minutes after the time had finished because there was a whole round of combat and basically the whole of both armies were in combat. And it's just how it goes. But like,
so I'm trying to think which
we also found, like, just by chance, there was one random game length, I think, in our whole tournament. The rest were 25%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really interesting to see how people dealt with it. And like I say, some people blitzed through games and had like an hour, 45 minutes left, and others ran over a little bit. But
think I pretty much always go to time.
I think 50% of my games were time and 50% were natural end.
I think I know. I play the kind of list. Switch is going to go to time.
And
Do
and it
you
was
play Nazgul of Dol Guldur? They never
No, I don't know. No.
finish naturally. It's so boring.
I mean, even like my Helminger's Wraiths used to go to time constantly.
Helmingus Wraiths. Is that your
The-
like
I
army for
watched,
my?
yeah.
Helminger's Elves in the old edition. My Isengard.
There's your good and evil hybrid.
Oh, Ewan is still watching. He's being nice about me.
Okay.
But like,
Oh yeah. Well, just very quickly, in the last 2 years, I've been able to go and play Mikola Belakar, however you pronounce his name.
Mick, just go Mick.
yeah, Meg.
It's only about every 3 months, but he used me quite a lot as like test lists, and I would test my nasty list too. So
Yeah.
that was like I'd go to the East Anglia League where it's like friendly, fluffy, nice things, and then it was Mick, gloves are off.
Yeah.
And he's such a good player. I love it so
it's
much.
quite handy because it's like with me with David, like compared to the local guys here aren't really competitive gamers, only just getting into it. But I can play David and I can take whatever like horrible stuff, and I know that's actually what he wants because he like wants to face the gribbliest.
And
he doesn't want to face dwarfs anymore though. But,
yeah, that's what I've also found with our gaming group. We can have awesome casual games and just let's try something silly. But yet, if we want to practice for a tournament, all of us can let's really take whatever and throw down and see what's what. And like me and you are meeting up on Friday, and I've said to him, right, this is your opportunity. Bring a 600-point list. I will make a 600-point list that's not horrendous, and we will play, and I will coach you through, and I will let you make your moves, and then ask you why you've done them and what I would possibly do if I would do something different. And I think that's just. And I
Good
wouldn't.
on you.
So yeah, we've all been there. So
my favorite.
There's enough knowledge in our gaming group to help him.
My favorite thing when I've done that is a couple of times at Wargame Club there'll be like 2 new people, and then I will sort of not play.
Yeah.
And I'll just basically
I've done that before as well.
I did one. I accidentally coached someone to beat Farmer one time.
Accidentally.
Well, it was literally just me there going like I wasn't playing for him, but I was just going, you may want to do this or this. Which one do you want to do? And then the guy just picked the right ones each time, and it was just like David definitely wouldn't have lost otherwise. But,
I've brought Sean Creed into the game from 40k, so he already had like a wargaming background. But yeah, you play him, and at the start you beat him pretty like 80-90% of the time, and now to beat him, I know I've got to play well.
Actually, Sean's quite a good example because in one of the first games that I beat him, it was final game at Reading.
Yeah.
And I'd accidentally mistaken one of his models for one of my models for one of his or something like that. So there was a gap that I could have moved through, but I didn't, and I did my move, and then got to the end, I was like, I've just realised I can move through there, and he's like, I'll go for it. He let me go for it, which then meant suddenly I got so much better positioning and like so many more hunterhawks and stuff like on his very hand heroes, and I absolutely smashed him. And I don't think I would have smashed him if he hadn't have like let me.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been less likely if I hadn't been able to do that. And I wouldn't have begrudged Sean if he said no, because it was table 2, last game of a GBHL 100 for a podium, and I should know better. Yeah.
Well, that's one further, and this branches towards tournament etiquette, which we'll probably do another day because it's a big topic. But the friendliness when you get to just go, oh yeah, you clearly made a mistake. You should have had that banner reroll. Let's redo it. And because how badly should you punish mistakes when it's top table, or do you just like it's okay? Let's be nice.
I've got one with a banner reroll. Here's a question, because I know what actually happened.
Right, before we go into this, we'll do like another 5 minutes because we're nearly at 3 hours, and then we'll call it, and we'll come out with tournament etiquette another day.
Yeah. So banner reroll. So it was Spider Queen versus a dwarf captain with shield. Spider Queen fails to roll 6 to win. Rolls a 5, has rolls a 4, has 2 might left. The dwarf captain rolls a 6. Spider Queen uses 2 might, win combat, kill the dwarf. Couple combats, 1 combat later, he remembers he's got a banner reroll, rerolls the dice, it goes to a 6, so he wouldn't have needed to use the might. What do you do in that situation?
You've moved on from that combat. Tough.
Yeah, I
That
think
sounds like Matt Light. Punish him. No.
No, I think that
I'd
you've
be
moved on
fine
too
with
far
it.
from that.
You've moved on.
So wait, Dewey's like, you've used 2 might, your
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
I think it's too late,
Just-
especially with
ju-
something
just-
like a monster.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, like the next combat hadn't been rolled, it's just the wound rolls had.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
okay.
if there's no way that it could have affected what you've done since,
Yeah.
then fair enough.
I was thinking you'd done some combat, so there's
Yeah.
potential that if they had the 2 might, they could have barged or held or something.
I think so.
So
It was
I
either
think
one. It
it's
was very soon after. There may have been 1 combat, but it was
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
so.
I think as soon for me, as soon as you roll that next combat, you can't go back.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
And I think it's I've always liked I remember Damien talk about this approach. If there's nothing I could have done to stop
Yeah.
you, then go for it, take it
There's-
back. And
there's
that's that kind of instance. Like you'd roll
That's
to wound,
usually
but it's like, oh wait.
that's
could've done
usually
that,
what
and so
I
couldn't
would
have done anything to stop it, so
say. What we actually did, which was a compromise, is he used 1 might, not 2.
Okay, so
Yeah, no.
okay,
So it was basically they're going because it was. I can't remember if he had rolled another combat or not.
yeah,
but
that's fine.
we kind of just talked about it, and it was just like they're going because he basically was like, "It's my fault for forgetting,"
Yeah,
but also I was like, "It's they going, I don't want to be a complete dick." So we're like, we basically were just met in the middle by like player agreement
That's fair.
going.
That's quite nice of you.
But then to be
But-
fair, if it's like
But then
last
it's
game,
nice of him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's
It
like
was-
last
it was-
game top
that-
table against
It was
someone,
top table
wouldn't.
game 3 at Reading, so it was like or
okay.
game 4, I think. So it was like important-ish. I mean, realistically it was because we were, I think, 2 of the only undefeated people at that time. But
I guess it's also very hard when it's a monster, which could have then affected so many other,
Yeah.
that's
and
what I
also
said,
then a monster with might is
yeah,
even worse.
and my dwarf captain who also had might as well at the time. So it was
Yeah.
like it was a lot of potential variables, but it was one of those things where it was just like technically you're not, but then also
Yeah.
nothing's changed.
Yeah,
in some
I
ways.
think my mind is very different between playing at home and playing in a tournament.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I think that's what's come across in my conversations with you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Like, at a tournament, I expect you to know your army and to know pretty much all the rules.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's a 100-point tournament. Like, and especially if you're near, like, especially if you're in the upper half of the leaderboard, which is generally where I sit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm expecting you to know the rules. And like me,
If you're against regulars.
yeah, CJ, me and you have had this discussion. It was at a local event, but I brought an army there to win, and so did you, with the Shaman and Calling Fury and Channel Fury, sorry, and whatnot. And you didn't say Channel at the start of the turn. I was like, well, I've come here to do well, even though it's a local one. And yeah, and to be fair, your Goblin King.
Did you do well, Dewey, or did you like?
I came
club it yet?
No, I came second. I'm pretty sure I came
Club
second. Yeah. But then the rest of the game, my Legolas was running away from the Goblin King, who was going to absolutely smash him. And I was like, no, get away.
You used a piece of woodland terrain to really good effect.
Yeah.
It was dragged down to 2.5-inch move, and you're going nah.
Yeah. But no, I think we've had a really good discussion, and I definitely think tournament etiquette is something we can dive in a little bit deeper on another stream.
So talk about barriers and defending,
barriers and defending,
God.
etc. So the next stream will be on the 27th of July. And providing there's no massive sport and taking up all the internet, we will all be good.
Olympics, maybe.
Yeah, but it won't draw the 20, 25, 30 million streaming.
So what time is? Because it's Japan, right?
Yeah, it's Japan, so it'll be
9 hours ahead.
9
They'll be
hours ahead.
asleep, right? Or
Yeah.
waking up. So.
I have no idea. So yeah, the next stream will be in 2 weeks' time. If you have a topic you want to share with us that you want us to discuss, like tournament etiquette, tournament formats, the double scenarios is one we can go through, the match play scenarios, how you build an army, all that kind of stuff. We'll keep the tournament reviews to a shorter length, and we'll still have two time top fives, and then we can have a deep dive into a discussion. So I think that's the plan that we all want to do going forward, and so we just need your suggestions. So please let us know.
I'm very disappointed we didn't have a tea break today. I personally didn't make a tea beforehand so I can be on time. Going like, we normally have a break in between.
We do, but no.
Requested it.
I'm amazed. Like, we have rattled through 3 hours pretty damn quick.
Yeah, I've still got loads more to say as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we will save that all for next time, and we will be on at 8 o'clock on the 27th of July. So thank you for watching, and thank you for rewatching if you've not seen this live.